Welcome to another episode 33 of Rapid Reviews Radio. I'm your co-host, Kylie Wild, and I'm joined by Pete Beckett.
Hello.
And I was about to say, we are now as old as Jesus. So,
Really?
yeah.
I didn't know how old he was when he died.
Yeah, that's my my background coming out.
Okay.
But so we're still. I'm in Northern Ireland, so I'm still in lockdown.
Yep.
Pete, you've been a little bit eased.
We have a little
my
bit.
understanding. Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit. The fact that we can meet up to 6 people from another household, but still observing social distancing, of course. But
right.
That's not going to happen, is it?
No.
So, I'm trying to stay away from it as much as I can, to be honest. The political sphere is something I want to very much stay away from at present because it's all over the place, not only here but also in America and everywhere in the world. And to be honest with you, I just need to shut myself down from it.
Yep, absolutely. And we're hoping to bring you, our wonderful listeners, a kind of chill episode.
Kind of, because we've decided. Yeah, well, we've got no topic this week. I'll put it out there.
Right, exactly, yeah.
We've got a lot of news stories to cover because this week was obviously very heavy on news for some strange reason.
Yeah.
We've had weeks where we've literally barely had a news story that we could scrape together with the weakest butter knife of all time.
Exactly.
but this week, we're literally getting it shoveled onto our pavement.
Yep, that's a good description. And we, I kind of decided to just have a news discussion.
Well, I made the decision when I put the document together, and you just went,
okay
then.
I'm like, what's his name on Anchorman? I just read whatever's in the front of my face.
What is the guy? Is it? Oh.
It's Will Ferrell, but I can't remember his freaking character's name.
Ron Burgundy.
That's it, Ron Burgundy. I'm Ron Burgundy. I'm Ron Burgundy.
No, I'm Ron Burgundy? Damn it, who put a question mark on the teleprompter? You know he reads everything on there.
Yeah, so that's me. Pete sends me a document, and I read what's in front of my face.
Yeah. You're like that dog that's like in the meme, aren't you? Where there's a fire all around him. It's like, this is fine.
Exactly. But might as well, I guess, start into the news since we've got so much to cover.
Yeah, and I was going to put my best Keemstar impression on there, but I don't want to acknowledge that absolute a-hole, so...
Exactly.
So, I've been delving a bit too much into the Keemstar H3H3 problem this week.
Yeah.
So
get down those rabbit holes. And,
It was glorious to see, though. It was quite funny, because both are terrible.
Yeah, that's what always makes it good, is when both parties are terrible.
Yeah, it's been quite funny, but, geez, it's been heated, to say the least.
Oh, God. Everything's heated,
Yeah, everything's on some sort of discourse where everyone's just angry about everything. So, I'm going to start with some nice, light, fluffy news stories to start.
Woo-hoo.
So, we'll start with the inevitable, shall we?
Mm-hmm.
The movie director Jeff Fowler has recently posted on Twitter that Sonic the Hedgehog 2, the movie, is currently in early pre-production.
Yep, not a surprise in any way, shape, or form.
Yep, nope, but I have one issue with it.
Sure.
He posted a damn spoiler from the post-credit sequence, didn't he?
Oh no! See, I haven't seen it yet.
Exactly. So if you haven't seen it yet, then his post stating this will have an image of a particular character that was shown in the post-credit sequence that would give that whole thing away.
Oh man!
Damn you, Fowler! You do great things, but you just ruined it right there just by doing that.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
Shall I give it away? Because everyone else has.
Let's warn, skip ahead a couple minutes.
I would say skip ahead a minute, because it was just going to be a brief thing of saying who that particular character was. So
skip now.
Yeah, I'll give you 5 seconds and then I'm going to say it. So,
Yeah.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, you're not here. It was Tails.
Ah, not a surprise.
Exactly, but he posted the
Tails.
Yeah, but he posted the image of how he looked in the bloody film as well. Yeah.
Oh goodness.
Okay, so you can come back now. I'll timestamp that one in the show notes, like I did last week for the Ferociously Steph story. Sorry about how long that went again.
Yeah, we're restructuring some things so that might not happen quite that same way.
Yeah, we're going to try and focus more on topics if that ever happens again.
Yeah.
You even said it in the show.
You
even said it as well. This should have been a topic.
Yeah, we've got some. God, I was gonna say a really bad turn of phrase. I was gonna say some bullets in the cannon.
Oh,
but I'm not gonna say
wow, gosh.
I'm just like, wow. We've got some stories in the future that are going to be good.
They're going to be good. We've got some that could be considered a powder keg.
Yeah. Yeah. We're going to have some fun. Put it that way.
They're going to be good. I'm looking forward to that.
Join us for this ride in the next few months of episodes because it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun.
So we'll move back to the news story. There's not really much else to say about it, is there?
Yeah, I mean, it was going to happen, whether the movie did well or not. But you know what I do wonder? Let me say this.
Yeah.
It's in early production. I wonder if they're going to release it only for theaters, or because there's been so much success with streaming movies, brand new movies at home. I wonder if they'll dual release it as streamable and in theaters.
They may do, but I think it would depend on the climate and the current landscape in which, once we come out of lockdown, how that actually changes the vast majority of industries, to be honest.
Yeah.
Because I think digital distribution is definitely coming up in a massive way.
I was going to say, yeah.
They still haven't sorted their pricing structure out, and that's the biggest kicker for me, is that I can still go to the cinema for less than £5. And yet I would have to pay £20 to £25 to get this on first day digital streaming, and I don't even get to own it.
Right. Yes. Yeah. Oh, that's a good topic too.
I will note that down in our document then.
Digital distribution, the future of. See, we're very organic here. You get it. The audience gets it as it happens.
Yeah. There we go. So, okay. So that's enough of that one. Yeah. You reckon? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, no surprises there. It was going to happen. Yeah.
Now, I'm going to apologise about this news story. I put this news story in for me.
Oh, I can't imagine. What we're about to talk about. I have no idea. But sure, go ahead.
To any tentative listeners out there who knows exactly what we're talking about, good on you. You can note that bingo card again. Yes, call back to the old bingo card that hasn't been used for a while.
I know. Yeah.
So, Capcom reveals Street Fighter V's new and final season for the game via a blog post on Capcom Unity. However, causes the whole blog to crash.
That's crazy. Like, obviously I know that Street Fighter has its fans. Can't imagine how I know that. But
I wonder why.
Yeah, the idea that it, almost was, I guess you could say it was a DDoS attack, but not really.
I know.
Just all the fans jumping on would crash it. That's wild.
The thing is, I couldn't even get on it because it had already been crashed.
Oh my goodness.
That was 2 minutes after the post had gone up.
That is wild.
Yeah.
Wow.
I think that just shows everything about Capcom, doesn't it?
Yeah.
They put something good out and then they crash it and ruin it.
Yep. Exactly. Oh god, that should be their tagline.
We like doing good things, but we can't help but screw up.
Yes.
Yes. Anyway, I'll go into a few of the finer details of what they actually stated on there. So this season is tentatively called Season V. No, it makes sense because they were actually supposed to have a season this year, but obviously because of the coronavirus hasn't actually happened. So they've extended the life of the game because they originally said they wanted to stop support on 2020. This is now going to go on to longer than 2020, like their original plan. Because they when they released the game, they said they wanted at least 5 seasons out of this, and they've delivered. Yeah, basically, which is fine, but obviously all that money that people spent on it, and there's going to be more because annoyingly I spent a fair amount of money on getting the game originally and the first season of content, and then Champion Edition.
Oh gosh!
Now to have to spend more money on 5 more characters and 3 more stages.
Ugh, that just sounds like a money grab. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not happy. Like, but go on.
I was just gonna say, but at the same time, if Halo Infinite comes out and it's good and it's redeems itself in my eyes, and then they had like in the multiplayer additional characters that you could purchase, you know, let's say it's a character that I particularly love or whatever, I would spend the money. I know I would. I'd love to sit here and go, oh, I'd never fall for that marketing ploy, but yeah.
So basically what you're saying is if they decided to sell DLC characters from Halo, Halo the non-existent game in your eyes, then you would back out immediately.
Yeah, I wouldn't. I don't have any desire to buy those.
Okay, what was it? Was it Locke? Who was the guy in that?
No, that was Halo Reach, I believe.
Who was it in 5 that's chasing after Chief?
Oh god.
It's played by Nathan Fillion. I'm sure of it.
I have X'd that out. Yeah, Nathan Fillion was an ODST as well. Okay. I have X'd that entire episode. That's what I'm gonna call it, episode out.
Okay.
That I can't even tell you because, like, I keep bringing up a picture in my mind of Cortana from that one that doesn't exist, and it fills me with a visceral anger.
Okay.
I really hate that game. Oh my gosh, I did not realize how much I hate it.
I think you've said to a lot of our listeners how much you absolutely hate that game, to the point where I now don't even call it Halo 5 Guardians. No. I just call it Halo, the game that doesn't exist.
Yes. Oh, please redeem yourself, Master Chief.
Yeah, I think he needs to, but if it's going by some of the original news that I'd heard about Infinite, I don't know if it's going to be the way that you like it going.
I know, but I will say this. And of course, we will talk more about it as the release date nears.
Well, when we actually see something of it.
I saw the like, I was gonna say teaser trailer, but it's not a teaser because it's like a full 5 minutes. And oh my gosh, it filled me with a little bit of hope, but I hope that's not unfounded hope.
Yeah, but that's the problem though, right? And this is the exact same problem that I had with the Series X air quote gameplay stuff that they showed off, where this is all pre-rendered. They can make it look however the heck they want, and it's not indicative of the actual game itself.
No, but to be fair, only with regards to Halo for me. I wouldn't care if it came out on original Halo 1 graphics. For me, oh god, we'll talk about this way later when we get to listener questions. It's the narrative arc.
Of course.
Yeah. But that entire, I'm going to call it a trailer for lack of a better word, is
it is a trailer.
Clearly rendered. Yeah, it's clearly rendered.
Yeah.
But yeah. How did we get on that again? DLC.
Talking about DLC practices and live updates and all that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Because of Street Fighter V's live service model.
So, what do you have any? Like, do you have any suspicions of what characters and stuff?
There's some mainstays that are famous in the Street Fighter canon that actually haven't been anywhere near this game, which is really unusual.
Oh, right.
I mean, it took them 4 seasons to put E Honda in the game, who is like one of the OG characters.
Yeah, like even I know who that is.
Like they've now finally got the original 8 World Warriors in the game, as well as the 4 boss characters from New Challengers.
Right.
So, but they are now notoriously only missing 2 of the original Street Fighter. Well, the original Street Fighter 2 roster, if you want to call it that, because over its all of its iterations.
Yeah.
And that is Jamaican DJ, the walking stereotype.
Right.
And T-Hawk, the walking stereotype. Yeah.
Yeah, they all are, but go ahead.
Yeah, they are kind of all walking stereotypes, but those were probably the most egregious ones in that entire roster.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, those 2 are missing, but then you've also got some pretty notable Street Fighter 3 characters missing who are very, very popular.
Right.
Including the twins, such as Yun and Yang.
Oh, yes, right.
You're also missing Elena. But geez, the backlash that I had for Elena being in Street Fighter 4, woo boy. Well, she had a move in there that was called Healing. It was one of her supers from Critical Arts, from Street Fighter 3, that basically gave her some life back. And the way that the Ultra meter worked in Street Fighter 4 is it was based on damage. So she could literally take the damage, heal herself, get more damage, and keep doing it constantly.
Oh,
so it broke the game to the point where Ultra Street Fighter 4 tournaments were literally the top 8s were mostly Elena.
Yeah,
So yeah, I think if they're gonna bring it back, they're gonna bring her back. They'll revise her quite heavily.
Would have to, absolutely.
But there are a couple of other characters that people were talking about, but there is a conspiracy as well.
Oh,
I do love a good conspiracy, as you know.
Absolutely.
So the couple of characters that people were talking about, one of them being Makoto.
Right.
The Rendokan karate female.
Right, yeah.
Also, who was the other? The other one was Oro, who in the later years of Ryu's training actually helped train him for a while.
All right.
And he has one arm.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he fights with one arm behind his back.
That's awesome.
It's kind of cool. But the conspiracy. Now, in Street Fighter 3, there is a character called Q.
Right.
He is very mysterious. He wears a mask and nobody knows his origin.
Right.
However, the conspiracy is that apparently he can be seen on the Street Fighter 2 Ken stage.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's cool.
There is a further conspiracy that apparently G in Street Fighter 5 is Q.
It's Q. Oh, God. Oh, my gosh.
So what they're saying...
I'm totally digging that.
Yeah, one person by the name of Vesper Arcade, he's a very notable Street Fighter content creator, surmised that if they were to include the Ken stage, but not include Q in the background, then it pretty much gives credence to the fact that G is Q.
Right. So, that's cool. That's a kind of conspiracy theory I like. I can get on board with.
I also didn't mention 3 characters from Street Fighter 4 that have been featured in the character stories, the really weird non-animated ones that is all moving pictures, and they're stupid, to be honest.
Yeah.
But those characters are featured in those story modes, included in Cammy's. I can't remember who else is. I think one of them was Giles, and the other one, I believe, was Jury's. Was Crimson Viper, or Sea Viper for short. Right. Abel, or Abel, the French karate grappler.
Yeah.
And Ducapre, one of the dolls.
Oh. Ooh, yeah. Yeah, see, that makes sense. That's a logical conclusion right there.
Yeah.
I get that. I can see that.
But if I was to put my hat in there, I really want Makoto back. She was my main in Street Fighter 3 and in Street Fighter 4.
Nice. Yeah. See, that's a logical, for me, it's a logical next step.
Yeah.
It's gotta be. So it's 5 new characters. Yeah, and 3 new stages. Yep. It says 3 new stages, but Oh, do you think that's going to be like actually new stages
Yeah,
or?
it's what they're calling new stages. It might be stages that they're bringing back from a previous game, like Flamenco Tavern from
Right.
Street Fighter Two,
Yeah.
which was Vega or M Bison's or Claws, if you want, depending on what part of the world you're in.
Right.
That was his stage. They've also brought back English Manor from which was Kami's stage.
Right. Yeah.
They've brought back Suzaku Castle, which was Ryu's stage from Street Fighter Two.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So yeah, they've got, and they also brought Balrog or M Bison's or Boxer's stage from Street Fighter Two as well, which was the
Oh.
High Roller Casino from Las Vegas.
Ah, right. Okay.
So yeah, they've added all these stages in that are like classic stages, but they call them new stages or retro
Hmm.
stages, but they're still technically new to Street Fighter Five.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's what they could mean by it, but it could also include certain variants of certain stages that are already there. Like they have, there's a stage called City in Chaos, which is a New York stage
Yeah.
where Alex is on, but they also included a Christmas theme for it, which was I can't remember the name. Can't remember the name of the stage, but it's also got the best music in the game on it.
That's awesome.
But yeah, they have these different variants of the stages, so it could include that. And this one of the things that one person wanted to talk about, which was Vesper Arcade again. He said that on the City in Chaos stage, there is actually an entrance to a subway on the far end of it,
Right.
and they have stage transitions on certain stages.
Oh, right.
One of
Yes,
the
that's yeah. They've had that
now,
for a while. Yeah.
yeah, now there is a very very famous Street Fighter 3 stage that is based in a subway, with
Oh,
the most iconic of music
yes.
playing, which was Jazzy 1997, which was Ken and Alex's stage from Street Fighter
Hmm.
3.
Yeah, even I recognize that. That's
Oh,
true.
yes, I really want that stage in.
Yeah,
That'd be awesome.
that would be good.
Yeah, but I think we spoke Street Fighter enough.
Yeah.
I had to get some theories out there because I needed to. But,
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, yeah, with the exception to Makoto, like, I don't really want anyone else particularly.
Mhm.
Like, because Cody's there. I'm happy with that.
Yeah.
Who else? I mean, they added Lucia from Final Fight as well, so they've
Hmm.
got the Final Fight contingent in there. I'm pretty happy with that. So long as they don't add any more Final Fight characters, I'm quite happy. Because it's now
Right.
basically becoming Final Fight, the game. The fighting
Yeah.
game, pretty much, which is fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think there's some old characters that do deserve a shot. And to be honest with you, because he was my main in Street Fighter 2, I'd like to see DJ back, but I don't know
Mhm.
how they're gonna make him. Um,
Acceptable?
I wouldn't even say acceptable, but I would say different.
Right.
Because what they've wanted to do, if they've included a character into this game, they've wanted to make sure that they were different from other characters in the game.
Hmm.
So, two characters that were notoriously similar in previous Street Fighter games, Charlie Nash and Guile, are now
Hmm.
very uniquely different.
Right.
So, they don't play exactly the same as they used to. So, Guile being the projectile heavy character, and Nash actually being a very offensive character with a sonic boom,
Right.
which is weird. Anyway,
Yeah.
so I think if they were to do enough to make him very different, because half the problem was he was quite like Guile in Street Fighter 2, just his.
Right.
But funnily enough, his fireball was actually quicker than Guile's.
Oh, wow.
I know, so I don't know how they're going to make him that much much different at all from what he
Mm.
played like in Street Fighter 2 and Street Fighter 4 respectively.
Right.
But T-Hawk,
Well,
nah, he can go. Right, if he never comes back into another Street Fighter game, I've forgotten one other. I can't
oh.
believe I have forgotten a character that's part of the Street Fighter 2 roster that's not even there. Fei
Yeah,
Long.
please.
Why isn't Fei Long in the
Oh,
game?
right.
I
Oh,
mean, he was featured
yeah.
as an Easter egg in the very first stage, in the very first video of the game when they
Oh,
revealed it, and the fact that he has a movie poster on the bus.
yeah. So, I would say that that's a high chance
Oh, I
of,
think everyone's on the understanding that Fei Long is going to get in.
yeah, yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I think so.
Yep. And of course, for you listeners out there, we will talk more in depth about that as it gets closer.
Oh, well, I'm sure I'll bring it up a few times.
I was going to say, I know we've got fans out there, but we've definitely got a fan here behind the microphones.
Yeah. So therefore, I set the narrative about what we talk about, which is Street Fighter. Woohoo! No, I won't. I won't bring Street Fighter into this too much because I know it's not everyone's bag.
Yeah, but you know, it is a very important series. I would say it's definitely a big part of my childhood, for sure.
I mean, it forged a career for Yoko Shimomura, one of the greatest video games soundtrack artists of all time. Yeah, so yes,
exactly. So I mean, it's Capcom,
and it's Crapcom, yeah, or Cash Cops.
Yeah. Oh gosh. Yeah. But we will move to the next one.
Oh, what do we tackle next? Because there's some good ones. I'm going to say that some of these are pretty controversial as well.
I know.
So, all right. It has to be. I'm going to move into the next two stories, which are to do with the same game.
Yes.
The first part is the controversial one, and the second part is kind of gacky. So let's move.
Yeah.
The Last of Us Part 2 isn't being localised in Saudi Arabia and other Middle Eastern countries, and has been removed from the PlayStation Network's pre-order page.
Yeah.
Gee, I wonder why.
I was going to say, for me, that's not a surprise, and it was strange to see the reaction of a lot of people.
This was ludicrous, the reaction. This was crazy.
Yeah. It's kind of strange. I don't know if people are unaware. I know that I was unaware a lot growing up, but different countries have different standards for their video game releases. In fact, a very classic example is Wolfenstein 3D in Germany. It had to be heavily censored.
I was actually also going to mention how bad Australia are for just everything.
And that was my next one. Yeah. Yeah, they also either don't sell the game or particular game, or they heavily edit it and they'll take out full cut scenes and everything.
Not even just that as well, but even if they do heavily edit some things, it could also be given the AO rating, which is the adults only, meaning it essentially is not even allowed to be seen on shelves. It has to be sold under the counter, basically.
Yeah, and some of those are weird. Like, you're like, really? This game?
Red Dead. GTA, Manhunt, understandably. I think that one was probably one of the more understandable ones.
I think that's the one that caught my eye growing up. Like, that's the one that went, oh, Australia censors games. Yeah.
Didn't they also do it with Gears of War?
They did. They definitely did Gears of War, and then, oh God, it's just some other really AAA titles that you would never think. You would just be like, what?
Yeah. Well, because they have a very hard stance against like massive violence, don't they?
Yes. Yeah. Any kind of, like, you have like blood in games, violence in games, all of that, and of course guns and stuff. They're heavily censored there. And then of course you've got China doesn't let basically any Japanese games in, from what I understand.
That's changing a little bit now with the fact that Tencent are involved with certain things.
Yeah, they've eased the restrictions, but it does go to show that, like, censorship in countries for video games, it's not new.
No, it's been happening for years.
And so I know for me, as a, God, I was going to say elderly gamer, but you know what I mean.
Boomer.
But for me, who's been a gamer for 3 decades now, I read it and went, oh yeah, okay, no big surprise.
Yeah.
But then you come back the next day and people are up in arms.
I know.
I can't believe this is being censored. It's like, what? Of course it was going to be censored. The commercial wasn't even, their teaser wasn't even showed over there.
No, it wasn't. The thing is, what they were saying about the whole thing was that you can actually go onto the PlayStation Network in these Arabic countries, and The Last of Us Remastered will show up, the original game, and the PS3 version, but not this.
Yeah.
And, well, to be honest with you, It's because of their very staunch approach to anyone of the LGBT variety.
Yes.
And we know that Saudi Arabia has a problem with that.
Yes. Very problematic.
Not gonna go into the finer details of it, because it upsets me to know that this sort of thing actually happens in the world still, which is really weird. But I mean, as a very staunch person, as proven last week about freedom of speech,
absolutely,
they have their right to do this if they want to.
It's their country.
Yeah, exactly. I don't necessarily agree with it, but they have their right to do it.
Yeah, I mean, or I just, I never, ever, ever, ever want the responsibility of telling entire, like, societies what they can and cannot do, because I know. I don't know anything about their society. I was not raised in it. I don't know anything about their. I believe that they are religiously driven.
Yeah, a lot of this is all driven by
theocracy, I think, but
I believe so. But it's down to the Islamic faith, I believe.
Yeah, and I'm just like, I don't know anything about it. I'm not making their rules for them. No. If that's what they decide as a country, hey, I'm gonna support them.
That's why I'm not commenting on it as much as I can, because I don't know much about their systems over there. And I mean, I know a little bit about potential Sharia, but not enough to make too much of a comment.
I want to clarify, and I'm going to say, hey, go ahead and say I'm clarifying for both of us, but of course, feel free to contradict me. What we're talking about is purely video games. If they were doing human rights violations, that's different.
Well, they technically are.
Yeah, I know, but that's what I'm saying. That's a completely separate subject from what we're talking about right now.
True. Yeah, true.
A game being banned.
Yeah.
And so just this tiny little idea of a game being banned in a religious country, not a surprise.
No, because it doesn't surprise me as well. There are certain themes in the game that might not gel well. And I'm not talking about the LGBT issue. I'm talking about the apparent religious zealots, which are Christians, which they don't see kindly on Christians at all.
No, I mean, it's just strange out there. I know that I think it was Far Cry, is it Far Cry 4 that has the religious
thing? Far Cry 5. It was set in middle America, with a very religious cult, basically.
And I think there was a lot of protesting and uproar about that from the more religious community, for lack of a better term. And they're allowed to say that. But as a country, the U.S. doesn't forbid games with religious,
No, because it's freedom of speech, technically.
Exactly. But that's clearly that's the U.S. And I think that a lot of people that were raised in the U.S. as they hit their late teens, early 20s, they don't know a lot about the rest of the world. I'll be very honest. We're very insular over there. And so when they see stuff like that, it's jarring, I think, to their sensibilities. They didn't realize that other countries don't share the same views. And so I think it took a lot of people by surprise in that way.
Yeah, it did a little bit, but also there was also people trying to claim that this wasn't banned. This isn't censorship in any way, which I thought was a bit of a stupid take, to be honest, because if a game is not sold in stores or in a digital marketplace, then technically it has been censored and banned.
What's funny about that is I distinctly remember Australia saying that, because they weren't going to sell a certain game. It was recent. When I say recent, I mean within the last decade. They said, well, you can't buy it, but you can order it from another country, or you can bring it in from another country.
Yeah, this is also the same thing that they said here. Is like you can use your US or your UK PSN credits and order it through their stores and still be able to play it. Which, yes, you can.
Yeah.
but it doesn't necessarily mean it is officially sold in your country of
Right.
origin. You have to go around a system to
Mm-hmm.
get it. So therefore, it has been banned in that country, in those countries, I'm afraid. So
Yeah.
whatever way you look at it, if they want to claim that this isn't censorship, it is censorship, I'm
Oh, it
afraid.
is. Yeah, I would say that it definitely falls under censorship.
Oh, absolutely.
At least as I understand it.
But this is the kind of society that we live in, that people just don't think that this even exists, you know. That,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
oh, this isn't censorship. This is their right to not sell it. Yes, it is their right to not sell
It
it, but you are
absolutely is.
censoring it for the people who want to play it in your
Yeah.
country. Because not
Exactly.
everyone in that country does believe in the LGBT issues, you know, and that,
Right.
you know, that the government hold. So
Right. I would say that's true for probably every country on the planet, that
yeah,
not the people themselves don't necessarily hold the same views as the government in charge,
yeah, but they,
but the government in charge controls the flow of information,
yeah,
you know.
exactly.
Yeah.
Just look at China.
Yeah. You could actually just pick any country.
Yeah,
Yeah.
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 Okay, I think we covered that one. We
Yep.
did pretty well with that one.
Yeah.
Pretty good. So we'll move on to The Last of Us Part 2. Oh, wait.
Yes.
Hold on. No, because there was two things that happened this week with The
Yeah.
Last of Us Part 2. Naughty Dog shows off a lot of the gameplay.
Part two, part two.
Yeah, Last of Us Part
Yes.
2, Part 2.
Mm-hmm.
Naughty Dog shows off gameplay from The Last of Us Part 2 in the PlayStation State of Play that was dedicated to the game.
Yeah.
Did you watch it?
I didn't watch it because I'm still wrestling with my conscience
Okay.
over playing it.
Well, I'm glad one of us still have journalistic integrity then.
But yeah, go ahead and say what you saw, because I have many words about it. But go ahead.
What I saw was a load of crap.
Uh-huh.
Because it's everybody's favourite person at the moment, Neil Druckmann, talking about everything that was in the game and showing off a new section of the game, which nobody had seen. I have issues with that, by the way, but I'll get to that in a minute.
Yeah.
So they were talking about all the different things that you can do in the game, like it's talked about the setting, which is going to be Seattle this time around.
Yeah.
So apparently you'll get to explore lush vistas such as green grass, snowy mountains, and stuff like that as you traverse this area. They told you about some, and I'm gonna preface that by saying some of the enemies that we see. They talked about the two warring factions, which I don't remember the name of the factions, but one of them was the religious zealots, basically.
Yeah.
And the other is basically a militia force that took over after the infection.
I was gonna say they're in previous games.
Yeah, you would have seen them if
or
you
previous
know about.
game.
Yeah, I don't know
DLC.
enough about Last of Us to know what they were called, because I wasn't making notes whilst I was watching it. I was actually working whilst I watched this.
Right.
It wasn't live when I was watching it. I decided to go back and watch the VOD, and
Right.
I was on work and just had it on my desk going, just like, yeah, I'll just watch. I can listen to him talking a load of nonsense and then look down and see what I'm dealing with here.
Yeah. And Fireflies.
Sorry.
Fireflies.
Yeah, I know it's the Fireflies, but there was an actual militia group, and I can't remember the name of the militia group. They did name them in the game. So
I can't remember.
Anyway, it doesn't really matter, to be honest. So decided to talk about some some features in this game that's made it sound like these are completely new features to games generally. Ellie being able to climb
I want to talk about.
and swim. Oh wow, Ellie can climb.
See, okay, I've expressed this several times on past episodes. For me, The Last of Us is a great narrative, cinematic, almost visual novel. I've said that the gameplay is weak. So what it sounds like to me is they've just added some basics of gameplay.
Yeah, it's what they like to call quality of life additions.
Oh gosh.
or QOL for
I was
short.
gonna say QOL. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've had people in the past telling me that they hate the term, and I don't hate the term because actually I think it's the most apt way of putting it. If you're making games like sequelized games, then you are adding stuff that adds to the quality of life, does it not?
I suppose it's very
it's a broad term, I
roundabout.
get.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I get it, but yeah, Ellie can now swim. Ellie can now climb. Hooray! Should have been in the first game. Stupid.
Can we please state, as we stated this off air to each other. Laura Croft's been doing that since 1990 forever. 1996.
Sonic, the notorious speedy platformer, has water sections.
Oh, that's right.
From 1992.
Yeah.
And 1991, because there was some underwater sections in the first game as well.
90 always.
Yep. So this has been going on for a long time, and these aren't features. These are just like he made such a big deal about it. It's like, oh look, Ellie can swim. Ellie can climb.
Swimming.
Exactly.
Nathan Drake's been swimming for years.
Yeah, but he
was actually the first. Uncharted was the first game. I think it was Uncharted 2, where he got out of the water and his clothes were dripping, and then they dried over time. Oh, I love that.
That's so good. But that's because Amy Hennig wasn't a complete idiot. She actually knows game design.
Yeah, go check out our past episodes. We love her.
Well, yeah, episode 30 where we do talk about Amy Hennig in terms of Naughty Dog.
Yeah, exactly.
So, but
I'm not impressed. I'm sorry. I'm not impressed.
I'm not either.
With swimming, jumping, and climbing.
No, there was one other thing that caused more concern for me, actually. Well, a couple of things, but what most importantly, it does not look like they've improved the shooting mechanics at all. It still looks like the receptacle is still off.
That is literally what I've said from day one, that it's not a strong shooter. It's actually a terrible shooter.
Yeah. Yeah, it looks like they've doubled down on that.
Right?
I might be wrong, but it did look like pulling off headshots. They were like the receptacles was all over the place. It wasn't even on the head. It was dumb. I think it was a bit dumb.
It was like that in the first one.
I know, and that's what put me off of it. That's what put me off of it, because I saw that on a Let's Play and I went, oh, there's no way I'm playing this if it's got bad shooting mechanics.
Yeah,
Sorry.
And I mean, as a person who clearly very much has stated that I'm an FPS lover, it just did not. It just, as a game, it didn't do anything. As a narrative, it was wonderful.
Yeah, exactly. I've got no issue with narrative. I love a narrative game, but if you're going to have a narrative game, have it play like a Telltale game in certain respects then.
Yeah.
Like, if you want to have a good narrative game, but also solid gameplay, you can do that. It's called Gears of War.
I'd say Red Dead Redemption 2, but you know.
No, I've dropped that like a steaming pile of horse poo.
You tried again?
Oh yeah, I did, and it was terrible again. I just got to the same point and I went, this mission structure is so badly outdated. It's the same criticism I had in 2018. And it's not going to change because I still feel that structure is weak.
Well, I'm definitely replaying it in August. Was it August or November? I think it was November that it came out. I'm gonna play it again on its anniversary in November, and then because I haven't touched it since I completed it, and see if I still love it as much as I did then.
Okay.
And I'll do a retrospect on that.
That'd be cool. Yeah. I'd be interested to see that.
Yeah.
There were a couple of other things that I saw in this. The section that they showed the gameplay of was just where they showed the swimming. Because you didn't know anything about it until they went. That was the issue I had. It was the way that Neil Druckmann said it. Okay.
Oh dear.
Not to do with the swimming, but to do with this brand new section that nobody has seen before. I think he's pretty much directly going, these weren't in the leaks.
Yep.
That's the impression I got from it as well. And it was sort of like this, ooh, look at this. We've got this thing that someone didn't spoil for you.
Yeah. Like, that's exactly what that is.
Shut up.
They probably wrote it in 5 minutes.
It's like,
the code, and then added it.
Probably, but why are you still acknowledging the leaks?
Yeah. I think I think it's a sort. I think those leaks hit his ego.
It did
Uh,
massively.
yeah, and yeah, I've said off air, I've said on air, I want to watch how this is going to play out. I
Me
don't
too.
think it's going to play out the way people think it is.
No, I don't think it is either. I think it's
Oh,
grand.
and as just a by the by, we as in Rapid Reviews UK did not receive a review code.
Yeah, the email that Mike got, Mr.
Mm-hmm.
Overlord Mike got, sounded like, sorry,
Mm-hmm.
too many other people want to play this, so we're not giving you a code.
Yeah, whereas I, as the cynical person that I am, think that they have a list of reviewers that will give them positive reviews, and that's who they're giving codes to.
Well, look at how many people posted up stuff on Twitter this week saying, "Oh, look, I've got my review copy," and then
Hmm.
someone from Forbes didn't
Yeah.
get one and had a meltdown on Twitter about it.
Yep.
It's
Because
like,
I
how could
do.
I do my job? Well, you can do your
But
job like every other independent
just
games
go
reviewer.
buy
Go
one.
buy it when it comes out. Doesn't matter if you
Exactly.
don't have a review a couple of days before. You review the game because you want to, not because you're paid to.
Exactly. Yeah, but that kind of enforces my theory of they have a list of reviewers that they want.
Yeah,
Because you would think you would put Forbes on that list
no.
if if you wanted to get a lot of views and clicks on your game.
Mhm.
But I think they're purposely avoiding people
Okay.
that they don't know will give them a positive or negative.
Oh yeah.
Whatever ultimately what happens, the Metacritic score, it's going to be kind of like Death Stranding. It's not going to be accurate.
No, it won't
I
be.
said that before though. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and the thing is that I can't actually go and look at this because of a reason that will come very apparent in a minute. But I'm
Hmm.
interested to see whether Schreier got a copy of this.
Yeah.
I can't see because I'm banned.
That's right. You're
I'm
banned.
blocked by him.
Oh man. Okay, well, go on to the next story while I look it up because I'm not banned, but I also don't follow him. So
Okay, yeah, fine. All
I
right,
had to unfollow him. I just couldn't take
yeah,
it anymore.
fine, no problem. I'm just trying to think of what story we can go into. Speaking of, actually, this makes more sense then, doesn't it?
Uh-huh.
Mr.
Yes.
X Kotaku himself. We've got a
Yep.
Kotaku story. Kotaku writes an article blaming Twitch streamers for spreading dangerous conspiracy theories.
Yeah. Bum bum bum.
Wowzers. So, this article was. Oh boy, it was an attack on streamers, was it not?
Yeah, and I don't understand the motivation behind it
No,
because
I
usually
don't.
you can pinpoint Kotaku's motivation. Uh, it'll either be, someone's paid them to write the story or, ethics and
Mm.
journalism.
Yeah, I mean, it starts out. In the past few days, an alarming headline has made the rounds. Half of Fox News viewers think Bill Gates is using the pandemic to microchip them, and the survey
See,
suggests.
let me stop you there. I
Yep.
have some problems with this. Not the least of which is just the logical, leaps and stuff.
Mm.
The fact that they said more than half of the Fox viewers.
Yeah, and that's what most people have taken him to task over.
Yeah, that's not journalism.
Their flagrant use of accurate statistics.
Yeah, exactly. You need to have a verifiable source.
Yeah.
And you can't make sweeping generic statements like that in a journalistic article, which we'll talk about more in one of these next
Yeah,
stories.
but that's literally like the first sentence of the
Yep,
entire article.
that would make me, as a person who has done journalism and been educated in it, would make me completely shut down and say, "Oh, I can't take this for serious."
Yeah, me too.
It's an opinion piece. But anyway, continue on.
What? I've
What?
literally just seen something on this article that I didn't notice before. That they've got like
Right.
a Twitch stream like set up. It's
Uh-huh.
called Trainwrecks TV. That actually a prominent FGC member called Gutex is in there. And
Uh-huh.
he's like the most least conspiracy person I've ever seen in my life.
Oh dear.
What the hell? I need to go back and read this and find out why they've mentioned him in this.
That's funny.
But yeah, they mentioned people like Dr. Disrespect, because, well, I don't
Yeah.
know. I mean, this is the same absolute clown who got ejected out of E3 last year for live streaming in a bathroom.
Right.
I mean, he's a bit of an idiot, but he's also the same Twitch streamer that got his house shot at whilst on a live stream.
Exactly. Oh, that whole debacle. Ah.
Yeah. So like, I don't know what. I think this article is dangerous.
Yeah, I do as well. That's kind of my point in saying they've already started off with no integrity.
Yeah.
So how can I take the rest of it, for serious? Whereas another person who may not be educated quite the same way, will go, oh, I believe this 100% because it's in black and white in front of my face.
Yeah. Okay.
That's dangerous.
It is dangerous. Well, let me read you this part of this that talks about Dr. Disrespect. I'm not going to mention his actual name on here because I think it's wrong. If you have an online handle, you stick to the online handle. Mm-hmm. But they've kind of doxed him by doing that.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, it's out there. People have done it before, but that doesn't make it
right.
Is.
Plus, we've both taken a pretty staunch anti-doxing view on this show, so.
I don't, not just on this show, generally, for me anyway, like, people shouldn't have it done. It's wrong.
No.
So, Dr. Disrespect, one of the most popular streamers on Twitch with nearly 4.5 million followers, spent a chunk of his May 1st stream reading through a widely debunked article advocating for the end to total isolation based on irresponsibly obtained data and playing an even more widely debunked video suggesting that 5G technology causes COVID-19.
Okay.
Yep, I'm waiting for your response. That's why I just stay silent there.
Yeah, we're back on censorship. So we've come full circle.
Exactly. We mentioned this a couple of weeks ago, didn't we? Where we're now starting to go back to the ideals of the 50s and 60s.
Yep.
Where censorship and spreading panic by calling someone an ism-anist or whatever is the same way as saying you're a communist, like it was in the 50s with the Red Panic.
The Red Scare and all of that. I mean, people throw around the term conspiracy theorist, and this happens on all across political spectrums and countries and everything. If you don't agree with someone, well, they're a conspiracy theorist. Okay, here's the thing. There's a lot of things out there, especially the 5G COVID-19 link, that can be scientifically proven or disproven.
Yep.
I guess here's what I'm going to say. It's controversial, but I don't care.
Go ahead.
You can't stop stupid people from being stupid. It doesn't matter if you show them a video on, Bill Gates infecting people with 5G, or if you show them a video of, someone claiming the moon landing never happened, or flat earth, or whatever. It doesn't matter what you show them. A stupid person is stupid.
What are you talking about? The moon landing didn't happen. It was all filmed by Kubrick in a warehouse.
Yeah.
That's an actual conspiracy theory for you. I mentioned to. I know you know. It was more for the listeners.
Yeah. Growing up in Houston, where NASA is located.
I'm sure you heard that 1,000 times.
Oh, gosh. Yeah, it's crazy because you would think, oh, you live by NASA, this stuff clearly happened because there's a huge, giant museum full of stuff. And no.
Yeah,
you can walk through the museum with them and they're like, no, that's fake.
No, I get why people sort of say that there is a bit of weirdness to do with it because...
Sure
why does a flag blow in the wind when there's no atmosphere?
Yeah, which is weird to me because the actual flag was dipped in resin, and looks like it's waving when it's not. They have the second flag because they always make backups for everything.
Yeah, of course.
That's what NASA does. They have the second flag prominently displayed in the mission control room of Houston Space Center NASA. I've seen it myself. It is an old flag dipped in resin, and it looks like it's waving.
That is very weird.
Yeah, so it's like
it's probably the way that the camera like reflects some of the
oh,
stuff off of
definitely.
it.
Well,
It just
because
looks. It's
he
an
turned
illusion,
it.
isn't it?
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. I mean, they're on the light side of the moon, with the sun over the camera shoulder. And God, I can't believe we're talking about this.
I know. It's weird, isn't it?
But that leads to the bigger thing, which is yes, some conspiracy theories out there are insane. But who are we to tell people what they can and cannot say? And I say
exactly.
I mean Twitch. But I just don't feel like Twitch is the moral authority. I don't feel like anyone should be the moral authority on information.
Definitely not Kotaku.
Oh.
Yeah, because I'm going to read you one particular clip that's may ruffle your feathers as an ex-journalist.
Uh-huh.
It's not clear whether Dr. Disrespect or Twitch removed the clip. I knew that was going to rile you up.
What I am seeing, and I'm sorry, guys, I know you don't want to hear rants right now, but what I'm seeing is journalism as it's being known nowadays, not as what it was, but what it is nowadays is laziness.
Oh, yeah.
You could reach out to Twitch and you could reach out to the guy, and if they don't get back to you, you write in your article, we've reached out to blah blah for comment. Neither have said which one has taken it down, but the clip has been taken down, but we don't know if it was forced down or voluntarily taken down. There's nothing difficult about that.
No.
You just say that.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that they say in journalism as well is note your sources, but don't tell them who your source is. Note that you have sources.
Yeah, you always want to keep your sources on hand, but you always protect your sources. That's how you get information, and you continuously get information.
Exactly.
This actually kind of segues perfectly into the VG 24/7 story.
I'm glad, because I was actually going to do that.
We can kind of go ahead and do that.
Yep.
If you want.
Yep. So yeah. I was literally just sitting here going, what story are we going to cover? Oh, yeah, we'll do this one.
Yeah.
So I can't remember how old she is, 80-something years old. 80-something years old. Shirley Curry, also known as Skyrim Grandma, decides to step away from streaming due to health concerns.
Yes.
Now, she's awesome.
84. Yes, she's 84.
Yeah, she's 84. And she still plays Skyrim, and
she's lovely.
She role plays it, which is amazing.
She's absolutely lovely. She is so good. She is a breath of fresh air in a time of shoutiness.
Yeah, she is. So she's obviously having a few health concerns, being an 84-year-old woman, which is understandable. Her stress levels are high. She streams on Twitch, she uploads to YouTube and all that sort of thing. That's enough to put someone's stress level up enough.
Absolutely.
Even a young man or a young woman.
Absolutely. So, oh gosh, yeah.
However, VG 24/7 writes a piece that is then picked up later by some of the other bigger news outlets like the Metro paper in the UK and Kotaku, so once again Kotaku playing their hand, stating that trolls have forced her to stop streaming due to comments about her not playing the game correctly.
Yeah.
Because of them damn horrible gamers.
Yeah.
All vile comments on the internet made me walk away. Shut up.
It riled a lot of people up.
Yeah, me included, because this is once again showing no journalistic integrity whatsoever. They didn't check sources, they didn't read, they didn't actually watch the video, they went on a hit piece. This is not a hit piece, this is trash.
Yeah, now let's read her actual statement. Do you have it there?
Let me have a look and see. Well, I've got the statement. She does say something about VG, But these, it was on a blog post, which I need to go and have a look at. So if you carry on, I will let you know.
Yeah.
So I've got to go into the article.
Yeah. She's great. I do advise anyone who wants to follow her.
Oh my God.
Wholesome content.
I've just noticed something about this article. They got her age wrong as well.
Oh no!
Can't even check Can't even check actual fact.
But it's listed on her Twitter.
I know, it's so dumb. But bearing in mind, I had to go looking for her Twitter because it's been buried by all these articles now.
Yeah, and let me give her Twitter address away because it's just amazing. Well, I mean, her Twitter feed is amazing.
Oh,
but it's
go on, sorry.
Shirley. It's at Shirley Scurry, which is SHIRLEY SCURRY.
Yeah.
It's wholesome, great content. Apparently her favorite music is Kiss. So
amazing.
I love this grandma. She's everyone's grandma. She says that. It's beautiful.
Yeah, exactly.
It's beautiful.
I mean, I have a grandma already, but I'd have this one as my other grandma too, because she's cool.
I unfortunately don't have any, but she's now my grandma. So.
She's by default now.
Yeah.
So the Fiji. So the problem is I can't go and check the vlog because it's a vlog, and we're recording, so I can't do that right now. But essentially, the long and short of it was she's had a lot of health concerns, and she is stepping away from it because of her high blood pressure and needs to take a couple of weeks off just to get herself right.
Yes, and if I remember correctly, her reply was something to the effect of...
Well, I'm going to get to that in a minute.
Oh,
stop.
Right. Okay.
I've got this covered.
Okay,
Don't worry.
okay.
Don't you worry about this, because I want to read the headline from the VG247 by a woman called Emily Guerra. Yeah, you're being pulled up for this, I'm afraid.
Yep.
Because YouTuber Skyrim Grandma announces she is scaling back streams for the sake of her health after receiving patronising comments. Which I'm pretty sure is not the original title, actually. I'm pretty sure that's been amended. I'm sure that's been amended.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the original title, because I saw it when it first came out.
Oh, yeah, there's an update on the article itself. Since the publishing of this article, I'm not even going to mention that. Not even going to mention it, because that plays part of it as well. Fair play to them. They have actually included that tweet in the article. Fair enough.
Well, good.
The original vlog describes the stress experience when some viewers nitpick and criticise her streams. However, these make up a very small portion of the feedback she receives, she says. We have updated the article to address this. All the quotes
that still sounds terrible.
No,
that's not what she said.
Wait. All of the quotes above are taken verbatim from Curry's video. So they've had to change this because of the backlash they've received on the original article. To the point where Kirk McKeon, a senior editor or deputy editor from VG247, literally wrote on Twitter not long after this article went out and people were criticising, just want to say, at Twitgera, which is Emily Guerra, is a brilliant writer and journalist. She is not a journalist.
No.
She
wrote a hit. VG24 and VG247 lists themselves as a blog.
Yeah, they do. They actually do claim to be a blog. In fact, Emily, her profile says video game consultant.
Yeah.
Hold on. She's previously a senior reporter for Polygon as well.
Yep.
That says everything I need to know.
Yeah.
She's not a journalist.
No, we're going to do a more thorough, I'm just going to call it what it is, a more thorough investigation of VG247.
Yep.
I don't know if it's 24/7 or 247.
I'd call it 24/7.
Okay. Because they're allowed to, this is the second time we've had to say this headline is wrong.
Yeah, in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, so there is a motivation back there that I think we should uncover. Get to the bottom of it.
Yeah, I think we are. So,
yeah,
the elusive tweet that we made mention of is this from Shirley Curry. VG247 I love this tweet because this is brilliant. It's
so good.
Anyway, sorry, I had to put my opinion out there because I love this.
Yeah, no,
I absolutely loved every second of reading this.
Yes.
VG247, I don't know who you are or where you get your ideas from, but there is no, quote, onslaught of patronising comments. But yes, I am scaling back my videos due to health. Most people on my channel are very nice. I do wish you would delete this so it would go away.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, of course, Shirley, yes!
She's wonderful. I love it. I love that. She's doing what was my favorite thing in the world, which is looking at the Emperor without his clothes on going, "You're not wearing any clothes." I absolutely love that. She's calling it out as it is. Oh, God, I love it. It's just
funnily
beautiful.
Enough,
it's poetic. It's beautiful.
But funnily enough, I don't see any single journalist from VG247, and I could use journalist or the quartering approach, journalist. Because, that I've always found that funny that he calls them journalists because it's obviously talking about toilet journalists.
Yes.
I haven't seen a single one mention about this statement since. They've not brought it up.
Yep.
Funny that, because Kirk McKeon had to go on the defensive for Emily Guerra and put that, but hasn't linked to this whole point either.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't fit with their narrative, I'm afraid.
It doesn't, and I just want to applaud Shirley again for just holding the mirror up to truth.
Yep.
Saying exactly, I did not say these things.
Yep.
I don't even know who you are, which shows that they never reached out to her. No. Because I have a feeling that she's the type of person that if you reach out to her respectfully, she will give you statements for your articles.
Shall I do that and see if we can get one for next week?
Yeah.
I'm going to try.
See.
I'm going to try.
Yeah.
I'll give it a try and see whether or not a nice grandma comes back and gives us a nice comment.
Yeah, that would be good. Or even just reply to her tweet and say that we support you or whatever. You do it. You're magic. You work your magic.
I'll do that later. Then I'll put that on afterwards.
Yeah. What you'll find, people out there, dear listeners, is that because I'm autistic, I'm not good at social stuff, and Pete is. So.
Yeah, I handle all the back office stuff.
Yeah, I'm not good. I have no filter.
Yeah, I know you don't. Before we move on from this news story, can I bring up another tweet that good old Shirley's brought up?
Yes, because her feed is beautiful, but yes.
So, she made mention of a particular YouTuber who made a very honest take on this. Who... weirdly enough, I can't believe she actually found this, but probably she's looking at all the articles that are going on and trying to see anyone who's obviously Googling her and all that sort of thing. So, the YouTuber in question is Yong Ye.
Right, okay.
The legendary Yong Ye. Says, "Thank you, Yong Ye. This is the most honest and unexaggerated breakdown review of my video out there. Hope people will watch this and it will offset all of the exaggerations in a couple of other videos going around out there. Thank you. You get it."
Oh, wow.
That's why I wanted to highlight it, because I did watch his video and it was a damn honest take on it.
And also, just because it's adorable, this is totally going to be the type of grandma I am. She has a screenshot of... looks like a guard or something. Anyway, just in Skyrim that she's killed, and he's fallen on some of the flowers.
Yeah.
And so she says, "Here is someone I killed, but it looks like a drunk sleeping it off. Why does everything I kill wind up in flowers?"
That's brilliant.
I love it so much.
That's so good.
Anyway, she's amazing. We are totally supportive of her and completely understand the need for stepping back due to health concerns.
Yeah, of course.
And absolutely, it is deplorable that VG 24/7 would do spurious, accusations against an invisible horde of I don't know, just generic gamers making
Yeah.
bad comments to her when there is none.
Yep.
So, yeah, I
All I'm
actually condemn them. I condemn their attempts at journalism, we'll call it.
Yep. Well, all I'm going to say is fight the power, Shirley. That is
Yes,
crappy journalists
yes,
or or bloggers posing as journalists.
yes, exactly. That's really what it is.
And
Yeah.
Kirk McKeon, get the fuck out of here, you absolute trash human being.
Yeah, and there's a honk for you.
Yeah, put it down, please. I did that intentionally because he needs to know he's a trash human individual.
Yeah.
I don't care anymore. Like, I used to be respectful to journalists because I once wanted to be one myself, but he doesn't command respect from me because all he writes is bait.
Yeah, no, that's what we do here is we call out, well, we just call it like we see it.
Yeah. And that's why I say get out of here, you absolute trash human being.
Yeah. If you can't contribute positively to journalism and gaming,
yep,
then what are you doing here? You know,
exactly.
Why make up lies? You know, we're already fighting a stigma of being, quote, white supremacist or whatever the thing was last week.
Yeah, but they jumped all over that one, didn't they?
Yeah, well, exactly. That's what I'm saying. I'm lumping them in with that sentiment because talking about an unnamed horde of, supposed gamers making comments to an old grandma playing Skyrim, and there's no verity, there's no
precedent
truth
for it.
Yeah, and there's no truth to their accusations.
Yeah.
They just did it to get clicks. I can't support that. Absolutely
no, I can't either because it's not there's no integrity in it. There's no there's no actual journalism in this as well. They didn't reach out for sources. They didn't read the full. They didn't check the full video. They literally probably only heard a small segment of it saying, I've had some comments. That's it. And they went, oh, you've had some horrible comments. They're not even horrible.
Yeah. That's one thing I can promise you guys out there that, well, at least as far as Pete and I and anyone we bring on to the show as an additional co-host or whatever in the future, is we have integrity. We stand by that. Yeah. That's something we and we will source anything. If we say something that you're a little bit suspect of and we forgot to source it, reach out.
Please.
We'll send you the source.
Please reach out because half the time it's me forgetting to put the actual sources in the description because I noticed that last week and I'm going to go back and put them back in.
We're all about integrity.
Exactly. But we've got two last news stories for you, but they're big ones.
Yes.
So this comes down to how you want to approach this. Are you an Xbox gal or you're a PlayStation person?
Right. I'm going to tell you right now. I was going to say, let's put it this way. Dear listeners, for the first time in 2 years, last week, I hooked up my PlayStation 4 and PSVR.
And did you happen to play it at all?
No. I did log on and download some updates.
Yay! No, you did tell me the reason behind it, though. You have had a lot of internal fan issues and all that.
I've got to clear it out because it sat in a corner for 2 years, basically. Almost 2 years. We're about to hit 2 years. And accumulated a lot of dust, which I did send you a picture of once.
You did.
So it's not playing exactly well.
No.
But yeah, I do tend to lean a little bit more to the Xbox.
Yeah. I think after everything that's happened with Sony, I'm now tending to lean more towards Xbox, like I said.
Yeah. To be fair.
I play my PS4, but that's because I'm currently reviewing Streets of Rage 4 on it. But after that, and I play Final Fantasy, obviously, but I don't see myself playing it too often after that, though.
Yeah, I will probably be the same way. But at the same time, I don't want people to think that I'm an Xbox fangirl because PlayStation has God of War, and that is just a brilliant series in my mind.
One of the very few exclusives that will probably make me buy a PS5.
Exactly. Possibly Uncharted, but I don't know.
No, they're not. I don't think they're bringing another Uncharted out for at least another 5 years.
That would be interesting. And I'd like to see who ends up directing that.
Neil
But anyway,
Druckmann.
yeah, it's like I don't like the way he took Uncharted, so I might not play it, but we'll see. We'll see.
Okay.
See.
So we'll go with the Xbox story then. It's the long and short answer of that one.
Yeah. You never get an easy answer out of us. It's going to be a long tangent and a rabbit trail.
Of course. So we've had some interesting Xbox Series X stuff being stated.
Mm-hmm.
So Xbox Series X to include quick resume and HDR support for all backwards compatible games.
That makes me very happy.
Yeah. Shall I
That's...
go through all of this?
Yes.
So the article where this came from states that it will see significant reductions of in-game load times, support an innovative HDR reconstruction technique.
That's just another fancy word for upscaling, I'm sure.
Yeah. But basically, this what they were trying to get across with the HDR reconstruction technique is that actually these were all run natively on the Series X, making use of the new GPU, CPU, and SSD.
That makes me ridiculously happy.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, because that Jaguar, the Jaguar architecture they used for the Xbox One was terrible.
Yep.
It is also stated that it will support quick resume for up to 3 games at a time.
Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah, because you could only have one You could only have one thing quick resume on the Xbox One at the moment.
Yep. And it doesn't always work, by the way.
Oh, it's awful for that, isn't it?
Yes. And I'm terrible for leaving it up 24/7 and coming back to it.
Yeah.
For quick resume, but I can't help it. I like it. So this makes me happy.
I mean, it's a really good function, but I don't necessarily leave my console on all the time, so I don't make use of it as much as I should, unless like I go off for a couple of hours, like I've got to go and do something for a couple of hours, and I want to pick it back up straight away. I might leave my console on if it's performing an update for a game or something.
Oh gosh, yeah.
So there was one last statement for this, and this one gets me excited so much.
I'm so divided on this, but I'll tell you why. But go ahead.
It is also stated that games could get a significant update to frame rates, stating that if a game was originally running in 30 FPS on the Xbox One, it would be running at 60, and if a game was running at 60 FPS, it could jump to up to 120 frames per second. And I know what your issue is, 120 frames per second.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of a witty thing for FPS, meaning Kylie's going to throw up. So 120, I'm vomiting for a second. Yes.
I was actually going to go to 12 Fs per second. Is how many Fs you give.
Oh gosh, yeah, there you go. Yeah, I've made it quite clear for whatever reason, and no, I do not know why. Although I will say that Aaron Hansen of Game Grumps has expressed his own problem with this as well. So it's not an isolated thing. It's not just a Kylie thing. But once you hit 120 FPS, I just get so nauseous. It is unbelievable. Like, I don't understand it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But as a performance person,
yes,
this makes me very happy, because there were a lot of games that had a locked 30 frames per second frame rate on the Xbox One.
Yes.
And on the PS4 as well. Mm-hmm. And especially on the Switch too.
Oh, yeah, of course.
So, I as someone who loves a fighting game, as we all know, 60 FPS is the absolute minimum standard for any fighting game on the system.
Right.
Like, it's the same for shooters. Like, I'm not the biggest shooter fan, but they have to be 60 FPS, otherwise...
Yes. Oh, gosh,
Which is what the obvious big uproar about having Overwatch on the Switch was the fact it was 30 frames per second and a visual downgrade and all that. It's like, why are you trying to get games to run on the Switch that don't run at a native 60 frames? You should have that. And I think and I'm going to call one into question that actually done it really well, though. Doom 2016 on the Switch.
Really?
It ran at 30 frames per second, but it ran so smooth you wouldn't even know.
I was going to say, we won't go into it too much because I'll just talk for hours about it, but the programming team, the development team behind Doom 2016 and then the latest iteration, which I love and adore, they are some innovative people that I don't think have been applauded enough. I mean, I'm assuming they probably did the port to the Switch.
No, they didn't. I think it was Saber who did it.
I wonder if they worked.
It was Panic Button.
Because
I'll have a look.
I kid you not. I played 2016 before I refreshed myself before I did Doom Eternal. And the fact that they still make me very nauseous, but the fact that these games are running on, the Xbox or Xbone, they're running so smoothly. I cannot say enough about Doom Eternal. The way it looks like a next-gen game. You've been talking to me while I've played it, and I've gotten so nauseous because it's so smooth.
Yeah,
which is weird. But and it doesn't even have ray tracing, and they were still able to make it that beautiful.
It not only does it look great, but it's buttery smooth as well, which is absolutely superb. But yeah, I was right. It was Panic Button.
Oh. Okay, I wonder.
Panic Button, they are magicians, honestly, when it comes to Switch ports. It's ridiculous what they get out of them. Their port of Rocket League alone was enough for me to show that, because they not only did they have they had a mode that soft locked the frame rate, but they also had one that basically pushed it up to 60 FPS, but downgraded the visuals again to make sure it was stable. And to be honest with you, you don't need visuals in Rocket League that much.
Right.
I'd much rather have the 60 FPS than I would.
I was gonna say, yeah, exactly. Yeah,
but it was great. So this makes me very happy. Let's just say I'm very happy that a lot of games, Tekken 7, that was 30 frames per second are getting a 60 FPS, including on this.
Gosh. Oh my goodness. Oh wow. I might have to experiment a little with some of those. Formerly 30 FPS to 60 FPS.
It may make you like Halo: the Forgotten game again.
No, nothing will ever make me. Literally nothing.
I know. I just thought I'd try my hand at that one.
Yeah. No. Unless Master Chief himself came to me and said, "Please like my game, Kylie." I'd be like, "Okay, Master Chief."
So much for Fantasy Hour.
Yeah, there's a little peek into my brain.
We get enough of a peek into your brain nearly every week. I didn't know we needed more. The curtain dragged back.
Really is frightening back there.
Yeah, you're telling me I've had to deal with it more than enough times.
It's true. It's so true. But yes. Yeah, all in all, I'm excited about this. I'm very pleased with... I mean, they're little small tweaks, but to be honest, we're at that point in, next-gen consoles being just small, incremental changes, you know?
Yep. Yeah. The only worry I have with this is apparently a report that had come out not long ago stating that Series X games are going to run at 30 FPS, which I'm like, oh, why?
That's very strange, yeah.
Like, why 4K 30? Just 1080 60. Just 1080 60 is not hard.
Yeah. Because,
or even 1440.
Yeah. I
don't care about graphics as much as I do performance. If it runs like dog crap, then it's not going to play well.
Exactly.
But I guess this is the issue that a few people like myself have with gamers who claim that it's all about visuals over fidelity.
Yeah. Oh gosh. Yeah. I could get in that debate for a while.
Another one to add to our list.
Yes.
So we're on to the last news story this week.
Yes.
This has been a long one for news. We did explain that. That's fine.
Yes.
We wanted to just cover some news because there's been a metric ton of it.
Absolutely. But it's always good to talk about games.
Of course. And we decided to leave probably the biggest news story to the very last.
Yes, of course we would.
Yeah, well, it makes sense, doesn't it? Don't show all your hands at once, do you?
That's right. That's right.
This is where the royal flush comes in.
Oh, goodness, yes.
Yeah. Sony reveals an hour-long digital presentation on Thursday, June the 4th, showcasing the PlayStation 5's games lineup for 2020.
That is going to be huge.
That is a... well...
Yeah.
I thought
we'll all be watching that.
I know. I thought they were just going to show certain things that were going to be coming up within the next couple of years to get people excited about the purchase. Oh no. Sony have really put a kicker into Microsoft saying, not only are we going to show gameplay, we are showing games that are coming out this year.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
This has made the next generation finally exciting.
Yes. May I ask, do you have any predictions yourself for what you think they're going to show?
If I had to put my this is weird because I'm losing focus with Sony and I'm starting to get very frustrated with them based on the whole situation with Naughty Dog and DMCA takedowns and all that sort of thing. This doesn't mean I'm not necessarily excited about the PS5 because I am.
Right, you're a gamer at heart. That's how that is. Yeah.
Every new generation gets me excited because I'm there to see what the tech is. I love the tech side of things more than the games as well.
Yep.
So I'll be interested to see how they're pulling off their 3D audio, the ray tracing, and how their SSD is apparently better than the Xbox Series X one. I'll be interested to see. My wishes as a gamer, if I was to throw a few ones out there, I don't think they're going to happen, but I really want to happen. One of them is a series that we haven't seen for a very, very, very long time that used to showcase old tech, or to showcase new tech. Always was the way of showing off what the new functions of the console was. But they never did it for the PS3, and they definitely didn't do it for the PS4.
Right.
Ape Escape.
Oh, yeah. We've made mention of that game before.
God damn, I want an Ape Escape game, a proper one, like an Ape Escape 4. Like, we need it. And with the fact that they're talking about the DualSense having a lot of different technology in there, I think it'd be the perfect way to showcase that.
Yeah.
Like, you know, the amount of like monkeys they can have on screen now. You know,
exactly.
Like no load time, so you can just drop in and out of levels so easily.
Yeah.
You know, they could have it as although I'm not the biggest fan of open world games, open world Ape Escape. Oh my god, that sounds too appealing, to be honest.
That would be very interesting. I would like to see that.
Okay. Because this is what I wanted to do. I wanted to throw a couple of predictions out there, like obscure and potential, like actual real ones, like because then we can go into next week's show, which I'm going to spoil for the listeners. Is going to be another roundtable where we're going to discuss the entirety of this event.
Oh yes, it's going to be a good one. Oh yeah.
So, what's your pie in the sky hope?
I think that my hope is so obvious that it's not even really a prediction, just me stating fact. But that, of course, is Cyberpunk. I want to.
What, you want Cyberpunk on a PS5?
Yeah.
Well, we're already getting the Series X version anyway.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I know that it's kind of, but I want to see I want to see what, they're releasing it on, like the Xbox. They're releasing it on the Xbone and the Series X.
Yeah, it's a smart delivery style, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. So if it's coming to the PS4 and then I assume PS5,
yeah,
I would like to see what the difference is. Is it significant enough?
Yeah, well, this is my issue with that, is that this is why I mentioned the Series X one, because we're going to have that with the Series X version anyway.
Yes.
And I don't think there's going to be too much different, but I think I might have to dash your hopes here.
Oh, no.
I don't think Cyberpunk's coming to PS5.
You really don't think so?
No.
You think it's going to be a Series X exclusive?
No, I think it's going to come later down in the line. But it's
right.
One of the things that Sony has mentioned in a article over the last couple of days is that they have no focus on remastering PS4 games.
All right. Ooh, good point. Very good point.
So that's where the Xbox has its unique selling point in smart delivery, because it sounds like PlayStation don't want to do it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a report. We don't know whether that's true.
Yeah.
So,
but by all accounts, that has been what's been stated. Yeah, that's actually a very good point. Well, I would like to see any of the old, like, Rare games. Any of the, like, Ratchet and Clank, any of that.
Rare games? You mean like the old Naughty Dog games?
Yes.
Naughty Dog or Sucker Punch.
Yes.
Because Rare are Microsoft and Nintendo years gone by. Well, never actually worked on the PlayStation.
Yeah, but I used to play Ratchet and Clank on the PlayStation too.
Yeah, but that was Naughty Dog.
I know, but I don't want to say Naughty Dog.
Oh, I see.
It's just the Rare developer.
Oh, it's okay. It's just oh right. I misinterpreted. I apologise.
Yeah, that's quite all right. Quite all right.
Yeah, okay. But we did mention them earlier on in the show.
Yeah.
So you can't say that. You've just...
No.
You see, all for the sake of being a pain in the bum, you confused the hell out of me and made me look stupid.
Never. I never do that.
Never. No, because you're a woman. You're always right, clearly. Yes!
Oh my goodness!
Flagrant, blatant sexism. Gotta love it.
Yeah, exactly.
No, that was a joke. I don't.
No, it was. It's purely. I was gonna come back with some random like. They always make dudes out to be like infants, children who can't take care of themselves.
Yeah,
I was gonna come back with something about that.
What are you talking about? I don't believe any of that. I need a diaper change.
Oh, I know. There was like a commercial, I think it was here in the UK, and yes, I'm on a tangent. Okay. I think it was in the UK, might have been in the US, I don't know, it all blends together when I first got here.
Yeah.
Where there's a bunch of like male partners, husbands, and they're in a mall, but they're like in a waiting area for kids. Like it's like a you would put kids playground, but it's for dudes.
Oh yeah.
And I always found that offensive, like, on dudes' behalf, because it's true. And then there was this one, it was very controversial in the U.S., where it shows a dad not being able to change his, like, infant kid's diaper. Like, he was a complete moron and stuff. And it's just like, really?
Really?
Really? So all men are children and all women are, I don't know what we are, domestic goddesses. There you go.
Yeah, okay.
If you're to believe the media. So there you go.
Yeah. All right. Well, you got any more pie in the sky predictions for the PS5 now that we've gone off that tangent?
Yes. Let's see. I don't know. Like, I don't know that I can't imagine there's going to be any exclusives.
I do.
No, that was stupid. That's not what I meant. There's no exclusives that jump to my mind right off the bat.
So, no Uncharted, no Last of Us Part 2, no God of War 2, no Spider-Man 2.
Well, I mean, they said they didn't want to redo...
no, I'm talking specifically of the sequels. Horizon Zero Dawn 2, Spider-Man 2, God of War 2.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Right, see now you got me back.
Yeah.
Yes, they'll do Spider-Man. They will absolutely do Spider-Man.
I think that's the only one that we probably will see, because I think, being the fact that they've already spoken about how Spider-Man's running on the PS5,
yeah,
it wouldn't surprise me if they've already got a game ready to go.
yeah, absolutely.
I know they had all the DLC like City That Never Sleeps and all that sort of thing.
Well, yeah,
but DLC is, if they've already got an engine there,
yeah,
which is working very well on the PS5, it doesn't take much to port that over.
right.
So, and then with the additions of the extra, processing power, the SSD, their load times go down, which is what they said. It says the city loads in 0.8 of a second and stuff like that. So
yeah.
That's going to be interesting. I think they've already got a story in mind, and I'll put my prediction for Spider-Man 2 out on here. 2 players.
Ooh, okay.
It's going to be a 2-player. It could be a potentially 2-player cooperative Spider-Man game with both Peter Parker and Miles Morales.
I was going to say maybe that, or Spider-Gwen as well.
Or that too.
Yep. I could see all those all being an option. Ooh, that would be good. Yeah. I can get on board with that. I think that's a good prediction.
That's a safe prediction for me.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Because I've got an obscure one for you.
Oh, okay.
I've got a very obscure one. But there is precedent for this one.
Okay.
I hate to get my hopes up, but I think it's time. I think it's coming back.
I still can't even fathom what you're alluding to. So
we are going to get a Capcom developed fighting game on the system, and it's going to be one of 2 things.
Tekken?
No. We're not getting Tekken. No, because that would be developed by Bandai Namco, not Capcom.
Ah, right. Okay.
Not Tekken Cross Street Fighter, the inevitable.
Yeah.
Well, the now officially cancelled game that's not officially been cancelled, but we all know it's cancelled.
Yeah.
No, I wanted to make mention of potentially 2 or 3 series that I feel are ripe for a return. Because actually Capcom have recently been teasing a new game. A new fighting game that could have potentially been revealed at EVO.
Okay.
Which could now be pushed up to this particular announcement, considering that Capcom have a very good working relationship with Sony because of Street Fighter V. It's possible that Sony could be co-funding this again.
Right.
No, it's not Street Fighter 6.
Right.
I've got 3 in mind, and I'll put my hat down on what I feel is the most likely at the end.
Okay.
Rival Schools.
Okay.
Darkstalkers.
Oh, right. Of course. Yes.
Or the synonymous, infamous, and should be official Marvel vs. Capcom 4.
If they did Marvel vs. Capcom 4, completely supported and all that stuff,
yep.
I think that would be a very, probably one of the top sellers of that year.
Do you want to know what I think?
Sure.
It is Marvel. And do you want to know what I think more about it?
Okay.
Launch day.
Oh.
Launch day release.
Right. That would be a great... Oh. Okay. From a marketing point of view, that would be an amazing first day launch release.
Yep. 2 Marvel games on the same day. Launching with Spider-Man and Marvel vs. Capcom.
Yep. Oh my gosh.
Marvel now being one of the biggest companies in the world with Disney's backing. Yep. Disney finally being behind all of this.
Plus, we already know Disney and Sony have a agreement that they won't give details out about. That was released last year.
Yep.
Holy crap, yes. Yes. 100%. Oh. I think we will see a Marvel versus Capcom at some point.
Yeah, I do as well, and I think there is no better game to showcase a a high fidelity frame rate, such as a fighting game or a shooter.
Yeah, yeah. That's going to be your two.
Or a racing game.
Oh, I forgot. Dadgummit, I forgot racing.
Yep. Because that's my
I'm
other...
so bad at them.
That's my other safe prediction is GT7.
I was going to say.
Sorry, Gran Turismo, yeah.
Yep.
So,
oh, God.
Any others?
I remember... well, I was just going to say, I remember getting Gran Turismo, I want to say 4. It was either 3 or 4.
Yeah.
And trying so hard to study the book to learn about torque and that kind of stuff.
Can I ask you a quick question on that?
Sure.
The manual.
Yeah.
Was it red?
No, it was black with the red stripe.
GT3A spec.
Ah, okay. All right.
Yeah, I just wanted to... I was like, yeah, I know which game you're talking about.
Yep. I tried to study it. I wasn't driving yet in real life. So...
Well, that was PS2, of course.
Yeah, exactly. And so everything was like, I just couldn't quite understand it. But I did love that the cars looked amazing. And the scenes, the driving scenes, like the tracks and everything were just gorgeous.
Yeah.
But I feel like I lost a lot on that game because I didn't understand the mechanics behind it, but sheesh, it was beautiful.
I mean, I still remember picking up the original GT on the PlayStation 1, and I barely knew anything about cars back then, but I really enjoyed the game. It was like, but that was the thing, it's simulation driving, and I've never been the biggest fan of simulation driving. I've preferred more arcadey races, which is why I love Forza Horizon 4.
Right.
Like, it's got a great blend of simulation, but also like really arcadey sort of feel. Like, and it's a perfect blend, I think. But the reason why I went with the safe prediction of GT7 because apparently someone leaked out the logo to it last week.
Really?
Yeah, and then they then had to backtrack on it.
Oh. Yeah, but I mean, it's a staple. It is a staple of Sony. It's a staple of PlayStation.
You say that. We've only had one GT game on the PS4.
Right.
But we had 2 on the PS3, but weirdly enough, one of them wasn't a full game. It was GT5 Prologue.
Right.
Which was like, we've been taking a long time to make this game, so we're putting out a prologue to it, and then the next game's coming, like the full game's coming in a few years' time.
I forgot about that.
So is it possible...
That was a weird, unprecedented thing at the time.
It was. So is it possible that they could also do the same thing? They could have GT7 Prologue?
Yeah, yeah. Because as you said, there was only one released on the PS4.
Yeah.
So I could see them. Yeah, I wonder like what their predicted life cycle is for the PS5. 5 years.
I'd probably go between 5 to 7 years, which is sounds about the norm for nowadays, unless they've got a mid-console refresh again.
Yeah, which I mean that wouldn't surprise me at all.
No, it wouldn't with me either.
I mean, tech moves so fast. But, I mean, it was crazy because PS3 and Xbox 360 were the longest game cycle that I'm aware of. Because it was like 10 years or something. It was ridiculous. Yeah, it was like 10 years.
Well, the PS2's one is actually a lot longer than that.
Is it really?
2001, and the last game that came out for it was 2014.
Whew, wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. Did not realize that because I definitely moved on by then.
Yeah. So yeah, they were still supporting repairs for the PS2 long into the fact that the PS4 had come out. So yeah.
So yeah, I definitely like the 5 to 7 year mark because for 2 reasons. One, I don't like to buy anything brand new for various reasons. One, the cost is ridiculous. But 2, everything that comes out has bugs in it in the beginning. Even nowadays, the consoles get released, and this thing we didn't predict was going to happen happens. So after the first year, they release an upgraded version or whatever, and then they start dropping the price, and then then I'll pick up a used. Yeah, exactly. I pick up a used of a new release. Like I have a PS4 Pro.
Yeah.
and I bought that used.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, so I mean that's what I'm saying. It's like I'll get the better machine, but only after it's been out for a while, and then I'll buy it for 200 or 300 quid less than I would have on launch day. I've never bought anything on launch day, like hardware. I can't even. I've never none of my iPhones or any of that stuff. I can't. I just. Ugh.
I have.
Oh, have you? Did you?
I could
line and stuff.
I could list every single one I've got day one since I've been an adult.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Do you do the standing in line stuff?
Yeah,
or?
I love it.
Really?
I love launch days. Launch days are some of the most fun I've ever had in my life.
We should talk about launch days on a show because...
Yeah, I've got so many experiences.
Yeah.
I can go over one of them in particular. There was one particular highlight for the Wii, which, oh my god, it was one of the funniest moments.
Yes, we need to talk about these because...
We will do.
Yeah, because to me, being asocial as I am, the idea of standing in line for anything for a launch...
Yep.
It sounds like torture and total fear.
I get it, but like for me as a sociable person, you're sitting there, you're corresponding with people who are all excited about that system, and you're joined together by the unity of games and games consoles.
That's really cool.
It's
I like that.
It's awesome. So
let's just put that down as one of our future topics.
Shall I go through all launches that I've been through?
Yeah, go ahead and list them because I want to know.
Xbox 360, Wii, DS, 3DS, Wii U, and the PS4 and the Xbox One. I didn't, but Switch as well.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
Just to name a few, but I've also done midnight launches for massive games, including Halo 3.
Yeah, I was going to say, now, I'm not going to lie and say that I haven't been at midnight releases because I have, especially for Halo 3. Yeah, okay, and those were fun, but I'm so like, just give me my copy, I'm going to go now.
Can I ask you a question about that? Because I heard a very interesting story on a YouTuber called Camelot331 who used to work for GameStop.
Yes,
funnily enough, it was in your neck of the woods.
Oh dear.
did you go to the GameStop launch of Halo 3?
I did.
And if they did they have a tournament going?
No, not on that one.
Oh, I was going to say it would have been that you might have gone to his store.
No.
That would have been so good if that was actually real.
That's funny.
Anyway, we've got away from that a little bit.
I know, that's just our usual.
I know. Shall we, we'll talk a couple more games that we want to potentially see? So you go next.
I would love to see, and I do hope it happens within the next few years, I would like to see a God of War 2. Yeah. I don't know what they'd call it, but I guess where the boy grows up.
Yeah, can I already tell you that Cory Barlog has pretty much already confirmed its existence?
I have seen things alluding to that, so I know it's kind of almost a given.
Yeah,
but
it's kind of
it's one of those.
Go on.
I want to, well, it's a believe it when I see it type thing.
Yeah,
I want it to happen. God, it's such a good game, and it really deserved Game of the Year that year.
Absolutely, it was my Game of the Year that year, and I absolutely hated God of War before that. Really? I couldn't stand the franchise. I thought it was just a DMC clone.
Well, I could see that. But it had some of the most impressive things at the time that are now just a staple. It beat out Red Dead Redemption 2 for Game of the Year.
Yeah, I mean, Red Dead Redemption 2 took the vast majority of awards from the Game Awards that year, and like the BAFTAs and all that sort of thing.
Oh yeah.
But God of War was the Game of the Year, and that was quite a shock.
It's just stunning. It just is from beginning to end. Yeah.
Like it was one of those games that I played and I went, is this gonna end anytime soon? Like it kept having these moments that you thought, oh yeah, I'm getting close to the end, and then it would keep going. But it wasn't in a bad way. It was like,
no.
Oh cool, I've got more of this. Yes.
Yeah.
You know, especially I don't want to give away a spoiler later on in the game, but where you go back to his house. And it's
Yeah.
like, oh man, this is so cool.
So
And I'm
good.
not even a God of War fan, but this is freaking cool.
Oh god. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hope so. That's what I'm looking forward to. If I do get a PlayStation, I say if, chances are I probably am going to.
I probably will. As much as I say that I won't, I
Yeah,
probably
I mean,
will.
we are gamers. That's just how it is, you know. And especially, I mean, they've got us over a barrel with exclusives, and they know that.
Exactly. And that's what lets me down, is knowing that one day on the PS5, Final Fantasy Remake Part 2 is going to come out first on it.
Exactly. Yeah, it would be interesting if Bethesda gets their act together and does a decent Fallout.
Sure.
I'd be happy about that.
And yeah, Todd Howard will start. No, I'm not even going to go with that bad joke. Well, basically, the day that Bethesda put out a decent Fallout game is the day that the Earth explodes.
Yes, that we experience a real Fallout.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. God.
Because bugs are features.
Yes. Bethesda, redeem yourself.
Yeah, they need to redeem themselves, because all the stuff that they've done with freaking Doom Eternal on the PC has been awful as well.
Yeah.
All the de novo anti-cheat crap.
I know.
Yeah, it's just Bethesda being Bethesda again, and it's just the weird stuff.
They need to release New Vegas, cowards. Remastered.
The good old you release it, you cowards meme. Gotta love it. I love it.
Exactly. I had to bring back old memes. I love them.
I keep doing it every time I mention Scott Pilgrim versus the World. I'm like, Ubisoft, bring back Scott Pilgrim, you cowards.
Yep, exactly.
And I got hope, as you heard last week, I got some hope.
Yes, there's a strange kind of hope.
Okay.
Oh, that would be good. But yes, any more for you?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I've got a big one.
Okay.
Well, there's been a lot of rumblings about a particular port-heavy studio dealing with their next big project.
Right.
And it's apparently one of their biggest projects yet.
Right.
They are notorious for remastering certain games.
Mm-hmm.
They're called Blue Point Games.
Right. Okay. That sounds familiar.
They are most synonymous for putting out the ports for Metal Gear Solid HD collection.
Oh, right. Yes.
So you might think this is going exactly where you think it's going. It's not.
Oh. Okay.
No, it's not Metal Gear Solid 1 Remake.
Okay.
Because a lot of people have asked for it.
A lot of people, yeah.
I don't think Konami would be on board. And considering that most of the assets were already used by Silicon Knights and they're now defunct, they already had the Twin Snakes. So I think that Nintendo have some sort of partnership in that remake. So it's probably not going to happen.
Yeah.
But that doesn't necessarily mean that they can't tackle another big franchise that was a PS3 exclusive. But now that the series has gained notoriety on other platforms, could be the time to see it running exclusively on the PS5 with a timed exclusive.
Okay. I cannot guess. You keep setting these up, and I'm so used to guessing things. Right?
Demon Souls.
Which one?
Demon Souls.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Ooh, that would be good. Wow, that was a pull from left field.
No, there's a lot of people talking about the potential for a Demon Souls remake.
Yeah, I think it's time. I think it's time for sure.
Yeah, because what I heard about Demon Souls is apparently it was level based, so it was it wasn't an interconnected world. So I think that could very much appeal to the Dark Souls fans because it is technically canonically. Sorry, I was having a struggle. The first in the game in the series.
It is, yeah.
So having them remaster it as an open world game like Souls and Bloodborne. I think it would work perfectly. And Blue Point are a great studio to work on a game like that.
That would be I could see that. That would be good. That would be a very good one. I did see some rumblings about possibly doing a remaster of, I believe it is a Squeenix game. I had it. Parasite Eve. Yes.
Yes.
I actually, weirdly, here's the thing about Parasite Eve.
Mm-hmm.
It was a beautiful game.
Yeah, I've heard great things.
The gameplay was awful.
Oh.
Take Resident Evil's camera
Yep.
and tank controls and put them in a Final Fantasy game. And that's what you get. It was, the control was awful. But I loved the game and I kept trying to push through and everything. I never completed it because I just couldn't with that camera.
So you think that could get the remake treatment?
I would like to see it get the remake treatment for sure. I would pick that up because there was so much potential there. The storyline is good. I mean, at the time it was beautiful, so I can imagine now it would be stunning.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would like to see that.
Okay.
Brought out. Yeah, for sure.
Fine. Because I'm going to throw another one out here, and this might... I think precedent has already been set from this because of State of Play.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to mirror any other YouTubers, to be honest, on this one, because this one has also come out, but I think this one's got a shot.
Mm-hmm.
We know Capcom worked very closely with Sony, and you know, obviously, how they had Resident Evil 3 remakes announcement via State of Play?
Yes.
And how they like to remake games?
Mm-hmm.
There's one that people have been asking for a very long time. And it could very much do very well under the remake treatment.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if they were to use that beautiful RE engine. Dino Crisis.
Oh, Dino Crisis. Wow, yes. Ooh, yes. Needs to be done 100%. Yes, guys, come on. You gotta do it.
Yeah, because that was the thing about it, is that Dino Crisis was Resident Evil for dinosaurs. So it would work perfectly on that RE engine.
Yes.
Yeah, the over-the-shoulder camera like Resident Evil 4 and Remake. Just, oh my god, that'd be perfect.
Can you imagine? It would be beautiful. It would be stunning. It would be, I keep saying stunning, but I can't help it.
And it'd be horrifying.
Would be amazing. It would be horrifying, but in the most
yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, it'd be great for that.
Yes. Yeah. That would be good. Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
Shall we throw one more prediction out there each?
Yeah, because we're hitting our mark. But yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Go on. So you first.
Me first. Okay. Yeah. Okay. This is silly. It's not. I think it was a PlayStation exclusive in the day, but it isn't now. Okay. Obviously. I would like to see a remastered version of GTA Vice City. Understood.
Oh, okay. So what? GTA Vice City in 5's engine, basically.
Yes.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Wouldn't it? But a lot of people don't want it touched because they feel like the polygonal graphics, are like of its time, and it kind of fits the '80s theme, and it's blah blah blah. No, I want to see it.
No, imagine like what they could do with all the neon lighting and this crazy stuff they could do with that SSD as well. Man.
See, wouldn't it be amazing?
Yes, I agree. I absolutely agree. Like, I think that is a game that is ripe for the remastering treatment.
I'm really surprised that there hasn't been more about it because everyone loves that game. I don't know anyone, at least in our generation, our age, I don't know anyone, and we're talking about non-gamers, who doesn't love that game.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
I think the only thing that lets it down is licensing, is the soundtrack.
Oh,
that's the only thing that could be the problem.
And you cannot release that without that beautiful soundtrack. You can't.
No.
Because the soundtrack is what made it,
Exactly.
Yeah.
Man, that would be so cool. I hate to dash your hopes there, but that's the only thing that lets it down for me.
Yeah, unless Sony owns lots of those musics.
Ooh, that's a good point, actually.
Yeah.
I wonder about that. How much of it is still owned by Sony BMG?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, I might have to look into that.
Yes.
It's such a good game. I'm gonna have to replay it.
Yeah.
I have it on the computer, so.
Brilliant.
But yes. So, what is your last reveal that you would like to see?
Now, I don't know necessarily if this is going to be a PlayStation exclusive, but I think one could get shown. And this is based mainly, very solely, on Sega.
Right. Okay.
In a
Now Sega,
big way, this is going to be
because they're
Sega's
working with the
prerogative.
Nintendo right now.
They are, yes,
Hmm.
but they work with everyone. Remember,
Well, yeah.
they put
It's,
games
yeah,
out on every console.
that's true.
So, there's been rumblings about a lot of stuff to do with Sega recently,
Hmm.
but do you happen to remember that it was supposed to be an announcement every single month from Sega this year?
Yes,
That's
that's
now been
right.
put to the back burner because of COVID,
Yep. There is a
obviously.
bird in your room, apparently.
No, it's a crow on my roof. It's annoying. Go away!
Just wanted to let the listeners know that you didn't have a Nevermore visitor.
Quoth the raven.
Yep, exactly.
Nevermore.
Oh,
No,
but yes,
yeah,
continue
that's
on.
annoying. The special guest, Crow. Well, that comes back to Resident Evil.
Yeah.
Go
Yes.
away, Crow! Go
Yes.
away!
To crow for comment.
Oh, God.
Exclusive guest. But anyway, yes, continue on. Continue on.
No, that is distracting me now. That's the worst part. So, Oh, go away.
You have to put in the show notes that we had a special guest.
No, I'm gonna. Don't worry about that.
Oh,
I,
funny.
I can't stop laughing at every time it. Shut up! See, I've lost my mind. I'm shouting at a crow right now. Oh, there he is again. Um,
Oh,
so,
so good.
anyway, the announcement was going to be Sonic.
Oh,
The announcement was going to be the new 3D Sonic game.
you really? Okay, you think? Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Crow, for ruining my way of getting up to that. And it just said you're welcome, clearly.
Yeah,
Just,
exactly.
shut
Yeah.
up. Okay.
Okay. So, okay. You really think that we're just gonna go right straight through? So, Sonic, though, on the PlayStation, you think that that is like you think? Doesn't Nintendo part own the IP?
No.
Really?
No,
Okay. I
no,
just
they
assumed
don't.
they
No, they
did.
had a license to be able to work on certain games, which is why they got Sonic and the Secret Ring, Sonic and the Black Knight
Right.
on the Wii.
Yes. Okay. So that's what I was thinking. But
No, because
okay.
if you know that
Wow.
Sonic 06 came out on all consoles, Sonic Mania came out across all consoles,
Dumb question.
Sonic Forces was across all as well.
Well, dumb question here, but who was the distributor of the Sonic movie? Who was the studio? Is that Fox?
Paramount.
Paramount. Hmm. Okay. Yeah, I could. It would be a moneymaker. It would be a huge moneymaker. I
Yeah.
would like to see it happen. I'm hesitant on it because I don't know. I think that could do it. I think that could be a good moneymaker if they did it right. If they did it right.
Mm,
Uh, And if they did it with the to coincide with the release of the movie,
yep.
yeah,
Uh,
I'm
I
really. Hmm.
I think so, but I'm gonna throw
Yeah.
something a little more obscure out there for this though.
Right. Okay.
This isn't going to be a brand new. Well, it is going to be a brand new 3D Sonic game, but we're also. I think we'll get two announcements.
Hmm.
We'll get the brand new 3D Sonic, but
Hmm.
we'll get Sonic Mania 2.
Ooh. Oh wow. Okay. Now that people would go nuts for.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I think they'll preface the Sonic Mania 2 announcement. They'll do that first, and then they'll go, "Ooh,
Hmm.
we've got something big for you 3D Sonic fans," and where
Right.
most people are going to shut out, are going to
Yeah.
clock out and go, "Nope, not interested."
Yep. Yep. Because
Sonic
that's kind of
Adventure
my
3.
first. Ooh.
I think they're finally going to live up to the meme. They're going to
Uh,
actually do it.
that that could. Oh, we are entering some territory that has some potential there.
They've teased it as well, which is one of the weird things is that they're teasing new 3D Sonic games, and I think they could go back to it because when did it come out? When was it
Oh gosh.
99?
Yeah, we're going.
Yeah,
It would be way
which would have
back.
been
Yeah.
20 years last year
Yeah.
since he came out.
Whew, golly.
Yeah, so I think they're going to come back with it.
Oh, that. I bet. You know what would be good? Okay. I think you're onto something, and I think that. I think if they did a collection first.
Oh, jeez. Yep, I think you're right. I
Yeah.
absolutely
Yeah.
do. The
Yeah.
what the like the Gems collection you did
Yes.
back in the day.
Yeah. Exactly.
So Sonic Adventure 1 and 2 with
Bundled with.
they'll
Yeah.
leave Sonic 06 out of it, of course. But
Yeah.
they'll probably include Unleashed and a few others.
I wonder if they'd remaster '06 and see what happened.
No, because funnily enough, somebody on a YouTube video actually did say it as a joke because it would utilise how the SSD would work with no load times.
Right! Oh my gosh. That would be hilarious.
Yeah, because that game was notorious for having one of the worst load times on the 360 PS3 era.
Yep. Yep.
And being a glitchy mess, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alright. Yeah. So
cool discussion.
That was our list of news stories.
Yes. It went long, but we like discourse.
Yeah, but we do. Yeah, exactly. There's a lot of ideas we had to share. So
yeah.
We'll do a very, very, like, not even kidding you, next segment is going to be super quick.
Okay.
Because really what it is, it's our 2-minute segment that we call You Got This, which has temporarily been rebranded as We Got This.
Yeah, I think it should be, like, permanently.
Like, permanently? Okay, so we're going to permanently rebrand it to We Got This, because we are all in this together, no matter what. Even after COVID passes, we're all into this, just life together.
And that's why I think it should be rebranded.
Yeah.
Because it's not just about us, it's about all of us as a collective community, as the human race.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, let's rebrand it. We got this. But really what it is this week, instead of, well, it kind of goes along with the name change, I guess, because usually I talk about how you need to take 2 minutes or more to kind of have a mindfulness moment to focus on yourself and, all that kind of stuff. This is going to be a little bit different. This week, you need to remember to check up on your friends.
Yes.
I check up on all your friends first and foremost, but some of your more quiet friends are the ones that have a lot of stuff going on that they won't necessarily talk about because they don't want to bother people.
Yeah.
Usually your more loud and flashy kind of drama kings and queens, their problems are just as legitimate, absolutely. But they've usually got a pretty strong support team around them.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is why they feel so free to talk so openly.
Yeah.
Your friends that go silent.
That's the ones you got to worry about, yeah.
Yeah, just a little check on them. I know that I tend to not be so great at the social talking stuff. The two-way communications, I have issues with that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So you probably got some friends out there that are the same, but just because they don't reply right away or whatever doesn't mean that they haven't read it or it hasn't sunk into them. Like if you say, hey, how are you today? Sometimes just being asked that, I know for myself, that can go a really long way. Like it stays with me the full week. Like somebody actually wanted to know what I was up to. That never happens because I'm so quiet in real life.
Yep.
Which is hard to believe, I know, but just take my word for it.
Well, yeah, I can tell you from experience. I sent a message to you earlier on, this week, and you didn't get back to it straight away. But then, because I was having a bit of a rough week, we spoke for a little bit, and it was super helpful. But then it came to later on in the week, and obviously all the stuff that was happening overseas, that really got to you. I sent you a message and didn't get back to me straight away, but you just said, I'm just going to be a babbling, mess if we talk and all of that. And I just went, okay, well, I'm here if you need me. Just, just give me a message if you want. And I'm sure that probably went a long way.
I was going to say, just knowing that, someone could be there if you needed them,
Yeah.
it goes a long way for us quiet folks.
Mm.
And so, yeah, a lot of problems, like I have my family are all actors, actresses, performers, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So for a large part of them, they're all what you would call extroverts.
Yeah.
They love interacting with people. They love talking. They're very bombastic, very loud, a little intimidating to me, but hey. But so when they reach out to me, they'll be like, oh, how are you today or whatever. And if I don't talk right away, they assume the worst.
Yeah.
So what I'm trying to say is that if you do have a quiet friend, don't always assume the worst. They're not necessarily upset with you. It may have nothing to do with you. I know for me, it takes a lot of mental energy to reply.
Yeah.
And my inboxes on everything are full. They're full to the brim because I do a lot of things. I'm into a lot of different communities, and so I get lots of messages. But I can't always reply. But I'll tell you this: if I see a message and it says, "I hope you're having a great day," that it just stays with me for like a good solid week or so, and it's just like, wow, everything was sucking, but that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
So just because people are quiet, it doesn't mean that they're not touched. It just could be some people are a little bit more difficult expressing their inner worlds.
Of course.
But definitely check on them. Check on your quiet friends.
check on your loud friends too, because they might be hiding something like under that bravado too.
That's very true. Just check on all your friends.
Yeah, just check on everyone. Doesn't matter who they are. Just
check on your enemies. Just check them all.
Nah, screw your enemies. No, I'm joking. We're all human. We all deserve someone to check up on us, and
Absolutely.
who knows? Even asking an enemy if they're okay might turn an enemy into a friend.
Oh, definitely. And I will say that also, I know I bring it up all the time, but it's just such a big component of my life. Being that I am autistic, I do have communication problems. People will say that they feel a lot of my silence or whatever is almost a judgment on them, or I'm being a snob, or I'm, all this kind of thing. And then they'll have this dislike of me. And then I will have a conversation with them, just a normal average conversation. Yeah. And 99% of the time I get, oh, you're nothing like I thought you were. Because there's just this idea that, by not being a very talkative or effusive person, that I'm, I don't know, snobby. But having a conversation clears that away, if that makes sense. So yeah, I mean, we're saying, we're laughing and we're joking, but check on everybody. You might be surprised to find out. And sometimes people, I'm not excusing abuse ever. So never mistake my words. I am not talking about abusive people. They're in a completely different section. But sometimes people have bad times and they snap at you and it has nothing to do with you.
Yeah.
And then, you find out later, oh, they had a really bad day, and then you talk, and then it's okay.
Yeah.
So, yes, tongue-in-cheek, check on your enemies, but really and truly, just check on your circle. Make sure your circle's okay.
Exactly.
Yeah. And remember, as always, now and forevermore, we got this.
Good rebrand.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
But that means we get to move on to listener questions.
Hey! We've got some questions again this week. Yeah. Okay, so we got 2 questions this week, both from previous guests.
Yes.
Wicked.
Yeah.
So we'll tackle Jennifer at Lady Sugar Cubes one first. So, considering the many games on every system, how many hours do you endure before giving up on a game when the first impression doesn't hold up?
That's so good.
I love this question.
That's a good question. Okay, so,
I was going to say, do you mind if I take this
No,
first?
you go for it. Absolutely. Yeah.
I would have to say that a lot of this will actually depend on the type of game I'm playing.
Right.
I have a lot of. I don't play a lot of RPGs, but I have a little bit more forgiveness when it comes to RPGs. I will give them about 10 hours. Because
Right.
the
Okay.
overall
That's fair.
experience is at least, 60 odd hours. So I would say it's
Hmm.
probably like a fifth to a sixth of the game.
Yeah.
If something doesn't appeal to me after 10 hours, then I think 60 hours is just going to be a slog.
Right.
Now, if it's a game that's relatively short, say a platformer, could
Hmm.
be the first world or the first couple of levels.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Because that pretty much sets the tone for the
Yeah.
rest of the game if it's a platformer. Yeah.
Yeah, it's basically
Yeah.
the first world is always an introduction world, and
Yeah.
if you're not gelling with it, then you're probably not
Yeah.
going to enjoy the vast majority of it, unless the rest of the game does something incredibly drastically different from that first world,
Right.
which doesn't
Right.
generally tend to happen.
Not with platformers. Yeah.
No,
Absolutely.
yeah,
Yeah.
I definitely think it's subjective, more like with a lot of
Mhm.
things. It's down to the certain type of game that you're playing. For me,
Absolutely. Uh, I second that for sure.
hmm
Um, I think for me, because I've had to review games that I don't like.
oh, we all have.
Yes, I I will be playing certain games. I want to say Darksiders would be my most recent
Ooh, wow.
disliked game that yeah, I know. Three. Now I'm talking about three.
Yeah, I've heard it's
Um,
not the best, to be fair.
it's not. Especially in the full series. But comparatively. So I knew pretty quick off the bat that I wasn't going to enjoy it.
Sure.
But I didn't want to make myself not enjoy it.
Okay.
Um, but I forced myself to play it because when I review a game, I do like to go all the way through the end.
Sure.
So I played the whole thing, but I will tell you, it was probably a good 25-hour campaign, 25 or 30, because it was a full game.
Oh, that's a
Um,
fair campaign, at
AAA, full,
least.
yeah, exactly. Um, but I would get so angry at just the system itself, the game mechanics, that I would
Yeah.
have to walk away and I would have to spend a day or two away from it.
That's really worrying that you have to do that.
Yeah, I had to. Yeah, because I just got frustrated because they were trying to achieve something they weren't quite capable of. So they had a lot of the weapons wheel was almost like 2 layers deep,
Oh my
uh,
god.
which I've already said
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of weapons wheels. There was a spell on each, like every single the D-pad and the
Ugh.
triggers, and yeah,
Oh
it was just.
no.
And I was like, and they were elemental based, and then the game itself was puzzle based. So
Yeah.
you had to match the right spell with the right puzzle, and then you could switch in between, and
Hmm.
and I just was frustrated. Now, if it was just me playing a game, not having to review it, not forcing myself to go through it, I know pretty quick if I like something or not. Uh,
Yeah, yeah.
I don't even, I think about an hour into it, I'd know.
I think so as
Yeah.
well. Like, I mean, I'll use a recent example as the Final Fantasy VII remake. I was
Mhm.
very skeptical going into that
Yeah.
game. It was when I played the two demos. It's when it cemented it
Hmm.
for me, and that's the first probably less than an hour of the game, and I went, I'm in.
Yeah. Yep.
And I
Yep.
think demos are good for that because
I do
actually,
too.
I want to put a recommendation out here on the other day based on a conversation I did have with Jennifer.
Right.
We were chatting the other day and we had a really weird thing where we were looking through some of the terrible eShop games
Uh-huh.
that were on deal, and it was really funny to be fair. But I managed to stumble across an absolute gem.
Hmm.
It's called, I believe it was called Awesome P2.
Right.
Like
Okay.
not like P like we yourself, like the food group.
Right.
But it's
Okay.
basically a Game Boy inspired
Oh, cool.
green scaled platformer. That's
Right.
like a collectathon. It's so much fun, and I would never have known about it had it not been for downloading a demo of it.
Oh, that's great. Yeah. Well, we did mention, I believe it was when we had Daryl on that. it would be nice to have demos back.
Yeah.
You know, like
And
in the old days.
yeah,
Yeah.
I agree, and it's great, you know. So
Yeah.
I managed to download this demo, and I literally messaged her the day later, and I went, "So Awesome P2 was actually pretty good."
That's awesome. That's
Yeah.
good. Yeah. Okay. So
Cool. So
next question.
we'll go to the next question, which is
Mhm.
my redemption arc, hopefully, because this comes to us from at Fraser Esports, Mr. James Fraser Morrison.
Yeah.
Nailed it.
Right.
Yes, I believe. But then I'm going to get a message from him saying, "No, you didn't." I think I'm getting blocked now because I think he did say something about that, didn't he?
Oh yeah, probably.
Okay, he wants to know best narrative in a story-driven game.
Oh, we've said it so many times. We are both narrative-driven
Oh yeah,
game fans. Um, it's so hard.
yeah.
It's so hard because there's just so many good ones out there. I am going to go with my old standbys. I know I'm predictable, guys. I really do, but I like what I like. I can't help it.
Halo 3.
I was gonna say, well, the whole Halo series. Because a lot of people. Okay, I'll be honest. When I very first played the original Halo, I didn't care about the story. That wasn't why I was playing it, and it wasn't featured very heavily in it.
No.
Halo 2 is where they really started to build a narrative.
Apart from finishing the fight.
Yeah. And then, And then Halo 3 just, bam, knocked it out of the park for me, story-wise. And it became, I would say, in about the Halo 2, the Halo franchise became a narrative-driven game.
It did.
And I love it, and it makes me happy, and I love it.
Okay. Do you think that some of that was based on the decision to turn certain stories from the Halo universe into novels? It was why Bungie then decided to change the direction of what Halo was.
I definitely think, I don't know exactly what happened to make Halo 2 so different from the first Halo. I don't know what spurred that on, because it's still Bungie. It's still Microsoft.
Yeah.
The novels started to come out, and the graphic novels started to come out in between 2 and 3.
Oh,
and then
right,
they
okay.
really, really hit hard after 3.
Yeah.
The novels aren't the best written things in the world, but they do add to the lore, which, as I've stated before, is my thing.
Cool.
Oh, love game lore. And there's just a whole fleshed out universe, and it's just... And then the stories of John and Cortana and who she's based on, and it's just so amazing. I love it. And then of course my usual standby. I'm sorry, but I do love the narrative of Red Dead Redemption 2.
Fine.
Yeah,
that's fair enough. I know you're a big fan of that game, and I think once you go back and play it after 2 years away, it might change your approach.
Yeah.
But I think
I really am curious.
Admittedly, that was the only thing that had me wanting to go back to it was the narrative, because I'd heard so many great things about it.
Right.
But it's just the gameplay I can't get through.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah. I've answered Jennifer's question again. It took me 4 hours for that one.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
If
I mean,
that.
you know.
Yeah, I knew. When I first played it, I was like, I really like this, and then it got to halfway through chapter 2, and I went, no, maybe I was just fooling myself into thinking I really like this.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then when it came to chapter 3, and I got to a particular mission, and I just went, no, I'm out. I can't do this anymore. Mm-hmm. So yeah. Anyway.
Yeah.
So, I have 2.
Okay.
And I know that's kind of that's not really right in the question because it says best.
Yeah.
And you can't have 2 best.
Best out of 2.
No, but I have my reasons, and I'm going to explain. One of them's a AAA game, and one of them's an indie game.
Ooh, okay.
So my choice for best narrative in a AAA game, and one that hit home for me the most, we've already mentioned it on this show, God of War.
Right. Yes. Okay. Yes. Absolutely.
Well, the most recent God of War, at least 2018's God of War. The the personal story of Kratos and Atreus. It felt very personal in that respect because you know, how Cory Barlog said all throughout that he'd become a father. His whole world view had completely changed from when he made the first 3 God of War games. And he, you know, he wanted to write a story that was for his kids, basically. You know, how much does your dad love you? This much to make a whole game about you.
That's so cool.
That's what I love about it. It's fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
So I love the narrative decisions that they made in that game to make him, you know, Kratos such a hard ass, but he's clearly trying to teach him a lesson. You know, that the world is unforgiving and it's horrible and it's this and it's that, but with a bit of strength and a bit of persistence, you can get through this.
Yeah.
And it's grand. It's an epic story. Epic.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Don't use that very, very lightly, either, that word.
Right.
Now, best indie game narrative? Game of the decade.
Oh,
Undertale.
Of course. Yes.
Undertale is a superb story
really
about how everyone is all the same.
It's so good. And also it's about how not second guessing people's motivations and family and
family, friends, togetherness, friendship.
Prejudging people.
Freedom.
So many lessons.
Love. Happiness.
Determination.
Because it fills me with determination that we can get through this.
Oh, it's so good.
See,
so good.
I know they're obvious answers, but they're ones that hit me the most, especially with Undertale. That was the narrative game that really had me thinking for months on end. Not just the music, but the visuals, but the story alone as well. God, I can't even get through the first section without sort of being a little bit like.
See, and that's the thing. It just really took what we thought we knew about games and flipped it. And I love that. Love that.
Can I give you another recommendation if you can find it?
Okay.
Because this is the elusive one, the very elusive one that nobody has really played outside of Japan. But there is a fan translation out there, and my God, oh my God, this is one of the only games in history to ever make me tear up.
Oh, okay.
Mother 3.
That's what I've heard. Oh my God.
Beautiful. Oh my God, I was in bits at the end of that game.
I've got to play that. People are that community is just huge, dedicated, loyal fans.
I don't think I've laughed behind tears, basically, because there's so many funny moments that are so heartbreaking as well. It's like, oh my God. I love what I'm going to affectionately call a dramedy, because I don't know what else to call it. That sounds perfect.
I love it. Yeah, well, I like it when it's like this really serious drama moment, and then bam, hilarious, and then back to
it's so
drama.
Good, isn't it?
I love that. That's a good high. I like that. I like it when that happens.
Yeah, because it takes you from the lowest lows to the highest of highs, and it's so weird.
Love it. Absolutely love it. That's why I love Deadpool.
Moving on.
But yes. Oh, that is our last listener question.
I know, that's why I said moving on.
Yeah, I just kind of blanked out there for a moment. See, what y'all don't know is I had to leave in the middle for a bathroom break because I had 4 cups of tea. And 2 of those are green tea, and that just goes
it's ridiculous.
Diuretic, I believe. But, so... as I try to get my focus back on track, we do very much thank you every week stopping by. You don't have to give us a listen, and you do, and we appreciate that just so much. And because we don't advertise, I say it every week, but anytime you give us a like or a share or feedback or a review or stars or whatever, it means absolutely everything. Because we do this out of a motivation to make people happy, to bring you entertainment, to bring you content, which sounds so generic, but I didn't have another word for it.
Yeah. And to piss off those fake journalists as well.
Oh, yes. We're both very passionate members of the gaming community, and that's just how that goes, you know. But thanks for stopping by. And if you want to look out at this week's reviews, which I do encourage you to do,
Yes.
you can find it at our current reviews at www.rapidreviewsuk.com.
Yes.
You can also follow us on Le Twitter, which is at Rapid Reviews UK, or the podcast exclusive Twitter, which is at RR Radio Pod.
Yep.
Eventually, we're going to get some stuff up on our new Twitch channel. It's just life's been kind of coming at us pretty fast right now with the things easing. Like I said, Northern Ireland is still in lockdown and will be for the rest of the year. So things are just crazy. But I'd still bookmark it. Twitch.tv/RRRadiopod.
Yeah, it's the same as the Twitter.
Yes. And of course, if you, and we do have a Facebook page, which is Rapid Reviews UK on Facebook.
Yeah.
If you want to drop us a line, send us a feedback, story ideas, topic ideas. Yeah, you can send it in an email to podcast@rapidreviewsuk.com. And then if you wish to follow. Wow, that was pure text. Oh my gosh. I went pure text in there. That is crazy. I was sitting here trying not to do that, and I just fell right into it.
So good. I want to follow her.
You follow the speller name. Where could they find you to give you a follower?
Well, yeah, they can follow me.
Can't believe I did
you can follow or holler. I don't know. You can do that at Pete Beckett 1 on Twitter, where I post my my terrible, I wouldn't say terrible opinion, my opinion of video games and other things. But what about you?
And then I'm at Kylie Tagreet, KLEYTHGREET, where I post about having the autisms.
and every week it still sounds so weird that you say it like that.
Yeah,
I just talk about the autisms.
Autisms. I joke about it quite a lot with my friends. Yeah. We have a good time about it. But I mean, eventually I will tweet about games again. It's just right now it's the biggest part of my life as it goes.
Yep.
And it's a big community. So yeah, it's fun. It's fun to see the point of view of different people. I like it.
It is. It's very interesting. Yeah. Like I said in the past, I've learned a lot about it through you.
I'm actually really glad to hear that because that's kind of what I'm trying to do. Especially I do the same thing on Facebook, and you're welcome to follow me on Facebook. It's exactly almost nearly identical to my Twitter feed. So, but I have a lot of parents that follow me that have children that are, I'm using the medical terms here, so please do not get offended. High functioning autism, Asperger's, or autism spectrum disorder. A lot of people don't like it being separated into high functioning versus mid versus low.
Yeah.
But that is the terminology that's used right now, so I'm just using the terminology that's been handed to me. And it helps them understand their children more. I love that. I like that a lot. Yeah. So, yeah, you're welcome to follow along for that. But as always, I say it all the time. I say it and I repeat myself, but I can't help it. I really, really appreciate, or we really appreciate you guys listening to us. It just warms our otherwise icy hearts.
You mentioned it right first. You really appreciate it. I couldn't care less. No, I'm joking. I'm joking. Yeah, I always appreciate the listens every week and the comments and the shares and all of that. It's nice to know that you guys support us in some way. Yeah, and it kind of spurs us on to do bigger and better things with this show, which is what we're going to be bringing you in the next few weeks. It kind of does with me, but what spurs me on is my hatred of James journalists now. There you go. But yes, that's going to wrap it up for us. I know we went a little long this week, but that's all right. Barring one thing. Well, of course. Why don't you hit us with a game fact? Is it obvious I've been playing Tetris again?
It's obvious to me because I hear it in the background when we talk.
Yeah, sometimes. Did you know that studies have shown that playing Tetris can curb sex, food, and drug cravings?
Yeah, I guess so, because you get obsessed with it.
Yep. Getting me through my celibate period.
Oh gosh, Tetris, the lockdown game that we all need.
I think that's going to do it. Let's go.
All right. Thank you guys, and we will talk to you next week.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.